This is when you pull them in. This is when you pull in your faith. This is when you pull in your hope. This is when you get on your knees and pray. Like whatever rituals you have, this is what they're for. Sure, we can meditate because we want to be grounded before we go to work. But when shit is hitting the fan like it is right now, this is when you pull upon your spiritual practice. This is what you've been training for. This is why the universe and God has been training you since you were, for whatever reason, whenever you started deciding or figuring out or trying to feel more grounded and embodied in whatever, like this is what it's been training you for, this moment. So like draw it in, call upon all of those tools that you have.
This is a Modern Man podcast. I'm your host, JD Farrell. And on this podcast, I interview my friend Alyssa, and she talks about her journey and meditation and spirituality and just what she went through the pandemic. And it's crazy how we both are different genders, different ethnicities, different people, but pretty much went through the exact same journey the past year. So I really hope you enjoy the conversation we had. Also, I am so excited. Bree will be joining the Modern Network. So I'm going to have Bree on the next couple weeks. She's going to be getting her fill of the lay of land with me, and then she'll be launching a Modern Woman podcast. But I'm happy to have her on the next few weeks, and hopefully you get to know her, you get to enjoy her, and definitely subscribe to her podcast as well. But for this one, we're going to get this one going. Get started off hot with this Grammy recap with her. So let's get to it. Remember, we are presented to you by the Modern Podcast Network. We're doing the 2021 Grammy recap. I'm so happy to be joined by my friend and now partner, Bree, who's going to be launching the Modern Woman podcast. How are you doing today, Bree?
I'm doing awesome. How are you?
Oh, doing good. It was a long
Good.
show. That show was long. I'm glad it's over.
Me too. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, yeah, it was kind of, it took a cool minute before it kind of got interesting there for a minute.
Yeah. Like the first couple performances, what they have, Haim, who else was on it? It was Billie
Black
Eilish,
Pumas,
Black
too,
Pumas,
was
like
one of the
yeah.
first ones.
But I gotta tell you, I'll start off with my least favorite. We always gotta go with what we hate first.
Okay, go on
And
ahead. What's yours?
I wasn't high enough to enjoy Cardi B's performance, whatever she was trying to do.
Honestly, I was really disappointed too. I honestly expected a lot more
That
from
was your
her. I
club
love her.
anthem too, right?
Yes, I'm like, I am a Cardi stan. I love her. I think she's great. And I think it was just, she had to be so censored because you can only say so much of that. I don't know if that's what maybe killed the whole vibe because you could just tell, like,
Yeah.
she wasn't feeling it like she normally would be. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
I don't know. I couldn't get behind it really with her. I'm trying to, who is the other one I had written down?
Doja Cat was that same type of vibe. I don't know who else, but that like, I don't know what they were doing, but yeah.
And see, I think at this point, I kind of like expect that from Doja. I feel like she always does like some kind of off the wall kind of shit. I want to say she's kind of weird. She's kind of out there.
Okay.
She kind of gives me Lady Gaga vibes sometimes. Does
I,
that make sense?
I get it, but I'm just like, I need to do more research on Doja and Dua. I'm like, they could be interchangeable to me. Like, I know
Yeah.
they're popular, but I couldn't pick out which one's different in their music, and their name starts with D. And yeah, I'm simplifying
Basically,
that.
yeah, I only know a couple of songs by each, and it's the ones that they're very, very well known for. Like, obviously, like the TikTok ones are just stuff that you would hear,
Yeah.
like, in an everyday banger. But as far as listening to them, like, religiously and knowing them, I can't say that I have that much knowledge when it comes to them.
Yeah.
Not. I was upset when I saw that. I really wanted Janae to get Album of the Year, man.
I just didn't want Taylor Swift to get it. That's what.
Isn't that fucked up? Like, I hate that it has to come to that point to where I
Yeah.
feel like I have to dog on another woman, but I was
Yeah.
so upset. I was like, I really want. I mean, at this point, I feel like we just know when it comes to like the Grammys and things like that, that it's like, it's rigged, man. It's like, it's some type of bullshit.
Like Taylor. I don't. I hate my vendetta against Taylor Swift, but I feel like it all kind of sounds the same. Like her performance was just kind of like, yeah.
Like
It's like
it's just I think it was what you expected
exactly. Yeah, it's not
from
bad.
her.
Yeah, it's just
It's not a bad thing, but it's not. Oh, like this is the Grammys. It's not really a wow factor. It's still. I feel like her very very safe image. She's always had like a safe image for the most
yeah.
part. The most like craziest notorious thing that she's been in was her scandal with her producer or whoever it
Yeah,
was.
and that's stealing her music that she wanted to like buy from and Scooter McGavin or whatever Braun, who everyone loves, who
Scooter
was
Braun,
Justin
yeah, that's
Bieber's
what
manager. Like I don't know any other Hollywood manager, but I know that guy. Like, and she has beef with him. Like,
I know. I'm like, that doesn't really surprise me though. I don't know. I feel like Taylor Swift has a beef. I don't want to be that person, but she
yeah,
has beef with like a lot of men. You know what
yeah.
I'm saying? Like, but I do stand with her
That's why I'm like, I don't want to
in
go on
that
a
whole endeavor.
Taylor Swift rant here. Yeah,
Yeah, let's not do that. Okay,
yeah.
so,
Like,
but anyway, who
we,
else?
yeah, I led with the wrong words. It's on the tip of your tongue.
I'm
Little
anxious.
baby, a little baby.
But that wasn't the worst. That was the
No,
best.
no, you're talking. I'm
Lil,
talking about Da Baby, not Lil
oh,
Baby.
duh, baby.
Da
I thought you
Baby.
said, bro.
I was like, what? Are you serious?
It sounded like you said little baby. I'm sorry, I'm tripping, but I was so upset. I was really, really disappointed. I
Yeah,
expected the baby to be really live, have a lot of energy, just give you something to look forward to, but it was
yeah.
just kind of like he was in his little Michael Jackson gloves.
Like he was rapping good. You could clearly hear him, and he was rapping it, but he didn't have any type of movement. He was just standing there. His get up was like trying to be Post Malone, Lil Nas X from previous years, just blinged out and just
Yeah, I didn't really understand that. I expected a lot more. I really did. I can't
oh
believe that I forgot to touch base. Go ahead.
no, and the Supreme Court, like the justices, those old white women in the back.
Yes.
Like I was like, what's is it? I thought he was like Ruth Bader Ginsburg, like trying to homage her or something. I didn't know what he was
I
trying to
don't
do with it.
know what was going on. It was very, very confusing to me. Typically, you can kind of see where they're going with it, but I was genuinely confused the whole time. I couldn't tell if it was because I was high or if it was just like, like, is something really wrong with this picture? And then after I was messaging you about it, I was like, yeah, something's not right here. I couldn't get behind it. I couldn't get behind it. I'm sad to say that. And then it threw me off when they were showing like Danny Lay too. Like I get they had a song together, but it wasn't that one. Like was that even her?
No, I didn't know that was
That
her.
was
That
like
was
sitting
her.
in the
Just
yeah.
as like, and I'm like, I felt it was a little awkward having all the artists there watching them watch the other artists because if they weren't singing the songs, then it's like disrespectful and like you're not into it. But then if you are, like, you know what I mean, and it's bad. I don't know. I just thought it was weird that they all just stood there on the stage while everyone
On the
performed.
sidelines. Yeah, and
Yeah,
I
like
don't
on the
know.
sidelines.
Is it one of those things where it's like, okay, I feel like the Grammys is obviously very different because of like COVID, but it's like, did it have to be this? It's like a different vibe. I
Yeah,
feel like since you can't, it's just not the same. Everything was different.
yeah,
And it's not necessarily like a bad thing, but like you said, when it comes down to it, it wasn't as live as I feel like it normally would be.
yeah.
For granted, this is the first time that I've watched the Grammys in like a really long time.
I think last year was the first time in a few years because I've really fucked with Billie Eilish, and it was a Lizzo year. Like I didn't know Lizzo
Yes.
won 3 Grammys last year. I was like, damn. Like,
Like how we missed that?
yeah.
I know how I missed it. I didn't watch it. But no, but that's awesome. I love that. What was it? Man, you know what else I was kind of upset about too? What's crazy while we're talking about it? Listen,
Give it
I
to me.
love Trevor Noah. I'm like a Trevor Noah stan. I love watching him on YouTube. He's funny as fuck.
Uh-oh.
But I expected more from it. It's not that he did bad. He didn't do
Okay.
bad.
He definitely did. Okay.
I don't feel like he did bad, but I feel like I just expected a little more. He was kind of funny, but you could you see he kind of Beyonce and Meg Thee Stallion was like
That was wrong. Everyone could see it. You do not stop, especially to black women like that. You do not stop to any kind of women when they're right as they're coming down the stairs and they're in like that was
Yes.
wrong. Yeah.
And so, see, it
Yeah.
was little things like that that just kind of like turned me off of it. As a whole, it wasn't a bad job. Like, I'm glad that it was him.
Okay.
I think he's a great artist. As like, art is not the word that I'm looking for. He's a great creator. He's great. Like,
Yeah. Yeah. That's all you got to say. Creator. Yeah.
he's a
Yeah.
great creator.
It's
I
some
can't
type of
English.
art. Yeah.
I'm so sorry. I'm nervous. But yeah, I think I just expected a little more. He did great overall, but he has some funny moments. But then he had a couple of moments where I was like, "Ooh, that's a little cringe." Like, but then, like I said, like I saw him, he was fangirling over Beyonce, and I can't even be mad at that.
I agree with you completely on that take because I was saying that too because I think it was Chrissy Teigen I saw put on Twitter where it was like Trevor Noah's killing it and I'm like I wouldn't say
Like,
killing
is
it
he
like
though?
yeah I was
Yeah.
like it's not bad but I wouldn't go killing it like stick up for your homie but
Yeah,
yeah.
for sure. Like, I definitely support, love to see it. Just expected a little more. How did you feel about Bad Bunny?
Uh, I mean it was club vibe it wasn't Bad Bunny's best but maybe he went safe for the Grammys because usually he likes to go out there and maybe because he definitely dialed it back a little bit and just kind
For
of
sure.
had a more mellow performance.
I wasn't expecting, I feel like I'm going to keep saying this, but I just feel like as far as this year went, I just expected a little more from these people. But I love Bad Bunny. I
Yeah,
think he's great, but I did expect him to have a little more kind of wow factor.
I did, and that's what. And even usually people go bigger at the Grammy, maybe because normally he's at like casual award shows and he's appealing to the very very mainstream being on the Grammys. You know what I mean? Like these could be like
Yeah.
60-year-old people watching this, the people Elton John fans from Paul, you know. So he didn't want to offend them type of fans like the
Absolutely, but see, that's where I can see where that comes from. But listen, all these 60-year-old people that's watching the Grammys can't get no more offended than they was offended when they saw Cardi B and Meg Thee Stallion.
you ain't wrong. Yeah, you ain't wrong.
That's the only thing that my brain goes straight to. I love to see it. I'm here for it. I think it's awesome that women can finally sing about this. But you know that them
Yeah.
60-year-old women had ambulances that was waiting for them tonight.
But not again to get on the Cardi hate train. But
Yeah, no,
Meg's
definitely not.
worked. Okay. Well, I'm a bachelor Cardi more, but I'm saying.
Oh, don't
But
do me like that. Okay,
no, because I'm
okay.
like Meg worked like her sexiness, her vibe. Cardi's was just like thrown. Because even when they went to the what's their remix, their song
Oh,
together.
Savage.
Oh,
Oh no,
I
you
thought
mean
she did Savage.
oh, Meg did. Whose
The song
song
they
are you
did
talking?
together, Cardi and Meg.
Oh, Cardi and Meg.
That
Oh,
song
what was the
that
song that they did together?
we them hoes in the bed. What is the name of that song? Like it
WAP.
WAP. There we go. WAP. I
That's
was
what we
like,
was talking about this whole time. I thought it was another song.
no, remember Cardi's first performance was up and it's
Yeah, and
up
then
and
yeah,
then
okay.
but then they did together and like Meg's worked and I know but she's wearing that same outfit Beyonce did and like I don't
Mhm.
know, I feel like if it works like the sexiness doesn't look as like sexy.
You don't
It
have to
just
try
looks
that
like it
hard.
works. Yeah.
Not that Cardi has to try hard to be sexy, but you could just tell that something was off about her vibe.
Yeah.
Like you could just tell that she wasn't into it like she normally is. Megan,
Yeah, it didn't seem
oh
like she
my
wanted it.
God, like we'll get onto that I guess when we get to the part about our favorites. But yeah, no, Megan killed it. She was out there. She looked flawless, effortless. I just wish Cardi
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
did better.
What other awards besides album of the year? Any other awards that went to someone that you wish before we went go to our favorites? Any awards that you wish would have went to someone else?
You know, I didn't really expect Harry Styles to get Watermelon Sugar. I don't remember
Yeah.
which award that was for. I can't remember if it was best song or what it was.
Yeah, it's one of
I
that
don't even
song or
know who I
performance.
expected to get that. But I didn't expect him to get that. I was just kind of like, I haven't even really heard this song. And my boyfriend's sitting next to me trying to watch it for moral support. And he's like, oh, I've heard that song. And I'm like, what is, what is
Yeah,
this?
I love it.
What the fuck is going on? Wait, can I cuss here? Is this allowed? Because
Yeah, yeah. Be here as much as you want. Yeah, it's
yeah,
not
I was
PG.
really confused by that though. How did you feel about that?
I mean, I like Harry. That's what I was gonna say next. Like, how you
What?
feel about Harry Styles. I like me some Harry Styles.
Maybe I have this love hate relationship with him because I'm weird. I can't hop on. I don't want to say that he's like a train, but kind of like when Justin Bieber was first like a thing. Everybody's like obsessed with Justin Bieber, and I
Yeah,
hated fucking Justin Bieber. I'm like, stop. Same thing with Taylor Swift. Kind of like that weird riff that you have with Taylor
uh,
Swift is how I feel towards Harry Styles. I'm like, oh, you can wear a dress, but when Thugger wears a dress, this is a different story. Like, yeah, I do like some of his music. I just can't, there's something about him that weirds me out. I don't know. Maybe I don't know enough about him. That could
see,
be
mine
it.
is just it's the swag. It's because I just support the swag movement.
I will
That.
agree. I'll give credit where credit's due. He has the drip.
Yeah, yeah.
I did fuck with his outfit. I did.
And that's what some people
Even
are saying. Even, oh man, just wearing the blazer, nothing under this. Oh man, fuck with that. I just the shoes. Yeah, it's just I don't got the money yet, but in time, yeah, that's gonna be the vibe.
the little boa scarf, I felt like I could kind of get with it. I was like, this is giving me like vibes from the 90s, but whatever. That's probably not even a 90s era thing, but that's like how I was feeling about it.
It's all about how you perceive it, where it takes you. Okay.
Absolutely, 100%. Can you think of anything else that you didn't
Uh,
like? I think that's all I can.
yeah, I think that's all I didn't like because, I mean, Meg, she won. Yeah.
Now that you said that, that just reminded me something else that like threw me off. Obviously about Cardi too, which obviously a lot of people you could tell that they was lip singing, but
Oh, told you.
she
That's
really didn't give a fuck.
that's what. And even on the dance, and you see Meg trying to dance and sing, and Cardi's like half singing, like not even like really trying to get the words out. Like,
She was just like, whatever. Like at this point, I was just like, okay, who done pissed this girl off before she came out? What
yeah,
what happened? Because she wasn't into the performance whatsoever. She was definitely lip syncing. I'm like, sometimes I'm just sitting there and you just see her at the mic, like, like, what is going on? I don't know. I don't know
uh,
what happened there.
see, you went there. Now we about to get real raw in here.
Okay,
I
I'm
was
ready.
I was picturing both of them, and I was just like, damn. That's why Offset cheated on her. Like she just was looking lazy in bed compared to Meg
Oh,
in the bed.
yo, Meg's
I'm
booty was looking right though. I'm not even
except
gonna
the
lie.
whole
God
time
bless.
just swaying with it. I'm just like, come ride me, Meg. And
I'm
then
sitting there.
cause she was just rocking.
For real, I'm sitting there looking at my boyfriend. I'm like, I can't even be mad at you. Sis is doing the damn thing. She was out here. Her butt was looking right. Everything that
Just
she was doing. I was like, she's Megan's a bad bitch. There's a reason she's the H Town hottie. I think
right.
it's going to remain that way. How could
Yeah.
it not? Look at her.
Uh, and I was like, Cardi, come on, girl. You were a new artist a year ago or 2 years ago. You just already
Yeah,
you
but
can't
see,
act like
there's
you've been
people out
here.
here. It's people out here just like you.
I'm just saying
Who's out here stressing this woman? See you lazy in bed, and that's why your man done cheated. That's why she don't even want to do shit anymore. She's like, I'm performing for these motherfuckers. I know they about to be out here on their little podcasts, their little YouTube channels. Fuck y'all.
I'm like, damn, her stripping days are in the past. She just, yeah.
Yo, now that you say that, that was something else that really surprised me is that when she was up there, oh girl didn't even get up on the pole like I thought that she was going to. She did like her little spin and did a little, whatever, but
That's,
nothing after that.
quarantine
What
been
was
bad
that?
to Cardi. Quarantine been bad to Cardi.
That's like your time to shine. No, see, but that's the thing. Quarantine couldn't have been bad to her. You could still see like her abs and shit in
Yeah.
her outfit. So I'm like, I know that you're still doing your little pole workouts. So what the
I,
fuck was that? Her little, she just circled around the bitch and then was on to the next thing. I'm like, what is going on? What was the purpose of the pole? Why?
it was Yeah, her
I feel
performance.
like sis had a lot more planned for tonight, but I'm telling you, she went through
Yeah,
all
you
those
could tell.
songs.
Yeah, she was not mentally checked in. She was just in.
Yeah, she's like, fuck this little check. I don't even need this check.
I got cramps or something. She just like, yeah,
Fuck that Birkin.
something's going.
Yeah.
Fuck this shit. There ain't no fans here anyway. It's just like, oh, that's funny.
Over it. But again, I can't stress this enough. I still do love Cardi. That's still my bitch.
Yeah.
Regardless.
I always remember her on Love and Hip Hop. I'm just like, I still can't believe she got famous. But yeah, I support her. I support the struggle.
I'm here for it. So what's your favorites? What's the highlights? What do you think?
Uh,
Not to
I'll
take over
let you.
your interview.
Oh no. It's not. It's not. It's just back and forth. It's a conversation, not an interview. Yeah. But honestly, I really enjoyed BTS.
Really?
Yes. Your number one is gonna be it. I know it was at the end, and I enjoyed Lil Baby, but I really enjoyed what they did.
See, I can't say that I didn't enjoy it. I did. I think that they had a really, really good performance. But if I'm being honest with you, I have no idea who the fuck that is. I was like, what the fuck is going on? I don't know if I'm living under a rock. I really don't. I had no idea who the fuck that was. I was like,
Really?
oh, like, for real. I'm being so damn serious. They did an awesome performance, but I was like, huh. Am I missing something? Am I really living under a rock? You need to tell me.
You are, because I'm like,
Wow.
for me not to, I didn't know who they were like 2 years ago, and
Yeah.
I still don't listen to any of their music, but like
Yeah.
they were one of like the most like streamed, one of the most like people are obsessed with them, and I'm like, who are these people? And I still
Yeah.
don't listen to their music, but I know who they are. And
Damn, that makes
yeah,
me feel okay. I need to kind of get back out here. Quarantine to be dirty too. You know what I'm saying?
that's what I'm like. And
Apparently, because
the younger generation, that Gen Z, they're already taking up. We're already getting older, and they're obsessed with
I
that
like
K-pop
that.
vibe, and that's what that is.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
definitely the new thing. Okay, I can get behind that though. Even though I don't know who they were,
Yeah.
I think they did awesome. For real, it
See,
was they was in sync.
see, it was like for me to like not really to know who they are, but not really know much about them. I was like, damn, that was a good performance. I was impressed. Like I was like, I could actually maybe listen to you.
I was like, okay, I can see that. Okay. I'm like, maybe, I got some nice 12s in my car. Maybe I just try to listen to them one day. The weather's getting nice.
See, great summer song, definitely good summer song.
Definitely. I obviously, like you said, sorry, I had to write down a couple of things just to make sure that I don't forget. There was a couple of different ones that obviously, if we're gonna talk about my top favorite, obviously it was Lil Baby's. That shit
Yeah,
gave me chills, yo. I was like, and it's crazy because I've listened to that song a billion times.
same.
You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? It always like, gets you hype, makes you feel some type of way or whatever. But seeing that, I was like, yo, it just felt like such a powerful, just like, it made me feel good.
yeah. Oh, and I loved when he brought in just a live speech. That was just that was perfect.
Oh yeah, that was so powerful.
Yeah,
She articulated that so well. You could just like hear the emotion in her voice, like if that makes sense, the power in her voice. I love shit like that.
yeah.
That's beautiful to me. I think that's awesome. So I think out of everything, that was probably my favorite. Who else I really liked? I liked Mickey Guyton's "Black Like Me"
Oh, that's
performance.
who I was gonna tell you. I didn't know there was a black country singer. I heard
Yo, I was completely bored. I hate to say this, not
Miranda
because
Lambert. Are you kidding me? You talk about how bored with Miranda Lambert, or what were you gonna say? Sorry.
no. I was, I mean, I guess so. I was bored in general just with all the country segments, and Mickey Guyton got my attention. I was like, okay, that's when I kind of start to pay attention. Because don't get me wrong, like back when I used to listen to country music or whatever, I used to fuck with Miranda Lambert.
Yeah.
But I'm just kind of like at this point, kind of over it. I still think she did a great performance, but I'm not interested in that world, I guess. I pay attention to it, but it's just I don't listen to the music, so I just can't get hyped for it like I would seeing somebody like, you know, Meg, Beyonce, DaBaby, not tonight, but definitely not. But yeah, no, I really liked her performance. What did you think about it though?
I actually preferred More and Morris to her. I didn't think hers was
Uh-huh.
bad. I thought it was good. I was just like, oh, it was like it's good, and I didn't know there was even a black country song. And I like her
I think it
little.
was just, yeah, it was more of the lyrics
Yeah,
behind
I
it for
did.
me. I
Yeah,
really
I
liked what
enjoyed
she
the
had to
lyrics.
say.
I did.
I
Yeah.
think that's probably where I was with that. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Oh no, I was just. It was about the lyrics when she's just like, just be black like me. Like it was just like I was. I'm part of the chorus. It was just like yeah.
She lost your twang. No, I'm just kidding.
But
Let's see. What were you
who?
gonna say?
I'm trying to think who else I loved. I think, oh yeah, duh, Silk Sonic. I'm so excited to see what music they put out. Anderson .Paak and Bruno, because Bruno, I'm obsessed with Bruno.
Yes. The first performance that he did, at first I was kind of like, what's going on? Because I got like a 70s vibe and it kind of threw me off. But by the time he was doing his second song, I was like, yo, I love me some Bruno
Oh yeah,
Mars.
love
He
that
can do no
second song.
wrong. We must protect him at all costs. I love Bruno Mars. I'm excited to see what they put out too. I feel like that's going to be a really nice little energetic duo. It's going to be a sick little vibe. So
Oh
they perform really, really well together, live
yeah,
too. So I think that's going to be interesting to see just where they go from here at this point.
yeah. And a couple things that I have learned in my life is that if a great album comes out, you have to go see him on that tour. Like
Mhm.
I missed Justin Bieber's that Purpose tour back when it was good, like 6 years ago. Same thing with Chance the Rapper. That like you know what I mean. Like you have to go see a great artist, and I have to go see them when they go on tour.
Absolutely. I hear that 100%. I think have they even said anything about when they're supposed to be doing that?
No, but I don't
Yeah,
even think they have
definitely.
an
You just
album out.
know.
Yeah, I just know.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, whatever's happening, I'm dropping and going.
Obviously, anytime I see Meg performing, I'm here for it, but we've already touched base on that. But one of my favorite parts though was that when she had won her award, and obviously her and Beyonce were accepting that together, up until Trevor Noah kind of fucked all that up. But it was so awesome to see her like so excited. It's like every little girl's dream, like, oh my god, bitch, like I'm getting an award with Beyonce, like I
Yeah,
have a song with Beyonce, like that was lit. I don't know, I
that's
like that.
nah. Meg made my night 3 separate times. The beginning because you had Lizzo giving her the
Mhm.
award for best new artist. So I was like, damn, that shit was powerful. You had Lizzo giving the award who won it to Meg who has the crown, and then that
Yes,
Beyonce moment.
the Beyonce moment was epic. I love
And
that.
then Billy, who I didn't really care who won that last award. What was that record of the year? The very
Record of
last
the
one.
year. Mhm.
And like, yeah, Billy won. I love Billy. I didn't care who really won that one, but how she just saluted Meg and for all
The
she
whole
did for the,
time.
yeah, I
I
fuck
love
with
it.
that.
It's just like women empowerment. It's a beautiful thing. That was like I don't want to say I was surprised because she's just like that type of person. You can tell
Mm,
she has like a really good heart, and if she feels like credit's due somewhere, she's going to give it. But it did. I was kind of surprised, but I thought it was fucking awesome.
yeah,
Like that
I
was
was.
really
Yeah,
dope.
it was. And that's why I love Billy because like it's not even like a sexual thing. It's like she just seems like she's just so
Dope.
chill. Yeah, like
Wait,
the
it can't
homie.
even be a sexual thing, Darnell.
That's what I mean. Because when people, but I mean like, but
Isn't she like
people.
12?
Well, I think she's now like 19, but like when she
Oh,
got
okay.
famous. But that's exactly why I want to describe it because when I fell in love with her music, she was probably I think like 16, 17. And when she wrote
Yeah,
the music, she was 13. So I'm just like, it's not even about that. It's about like just this person like
she's
went through
always
some shit.
been, yeah, you can
Yeah,
tell that she's always been some type of freaking lyrical genius.
yeah,
She's good when it comes to her craft for sure. I really enjoy watching her perform too.
yeah. Okay. And then what else? What
Yo,
any
I
other?
really like seeing Lionel Richie perform tonight. Is that weird?
That's weird. That was one of those moments I was literally like, can we wrap this up? I didn't know him and Kenny Rogers were homies like that.
I didn't either, but it's just something about, I don't know how to explain it. Lionel Richie is now obviously something that I go into my car and I'm like, let me play this today. But there was just something about him performing tonight that made me feel warm inside, and I can't explain it. Can you help me make sense of it?
I can't because I watched like Idol a night ago. There was nothing on, and I watched it for like 30 minutes, and he just seems like a caricature on American Idol.
Oh, see, but I haven't. I think. Okay, I can't be upset with you because, like you said, what else is on TV, right? But I don't.
I watched it for 30 minutes.
Who watches American Idol anymore, though?
It was Saturday night. I also went to bed at 9:30 that Saturday night.
Okay, that's fair.
Because there's a point where like you don't want to like watch an intense movie. There's no like show you're super interested in watching. You know what I mean? Like nowadays with TV, you don't just like pick a random show to turn on these days. Like you rarely do that. And
definitely, yeah. Okay, that makes sense. Okay, well, I can't be mad at it. I can't.
And it's just because I do have a satellite for like football and like things like the Grammys, and I was just flipping through and it's ABC and I didn't change the channel. I watched it till it went to commercial. Okay.
Maybe that's why it didn't bother me so much seeing him, because like I don't, obviously, like I just literally only have Netflix, Hulu, and shit like that. I don't even know if American Idol's on any of that, but maybe that's why. It's just like there was something about like his performance. So it was just like, oh, happy to see it.
Did you know the song? I didn't know the song.
No, I had no idea what the song was.
You clearly have something about Lionel Richie that just gets it going for you or something.
Yeah, I don't know about gets it going for me. That's.
I mean, you were hitting with the twang. Like he just got you feeling it. So
it's kind of like Carlton from Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. You know what I'm saying? Like you just see him and you can't help but be happy. I think Lionel Richie, is he like my kryptonite?
That's Lionel Richie. Lionel Richie.
What the fuck is going on, yo? I can't make sense of this right now.
Yeah, I can't help you there, sis.
Okay, well, I thought that was interesting. Obviously, I enjoyed hers, I Can't Breathe, too.
Yeah. Hers,
that always hits home for sure. I think that was, man.
Yeah, I can't breathe that song. Yeah, just
I'm
anything
like,
she
what
writes.
Can you even say?
Yeah.
It goes straight to your spirit, but obviously, especially with everything that's been going on like the last year and everything, obviously there was a couple of songs, but that one got me. But man, honestly, I don't even know. I don't feel like much went on. That was really
just a lot of performances.
Like it's the Grammys or something.
Well, I guess, I don't know. I thought there was more awards. I just watched the Golden Globes and I felt like every 5 minutes there was an award given out. This one, I just felt like every 5 minutes someone performed.
With a performance.
Yeah, it was
no,
just like performance.
That's very true. Now that you say that, I mean, I expected there to be a lot of performances as any award show. But they really only gave out like 6 awards.
I know. I was like what was best rap album?
Oh, Beyonce. Beyonce wasn't best rap album. She got best rap.
Black Parade, that was something else. That was R&B. No, that was her. She got like best song or something. But that's what I mean. I don't remember.
I thought she got best rap. I'm tripping. I saw something on Twitter, but Twitter has me fucked up right now. Who did win the best? That's gonna make me crazy.
That's what I mean. And it should have been Meg, probably, if she was nominated for.
Oh yeah, wasn't her? It was her and Beyonce.
Maybe.
That was song. Look it up real
song.
quick.
Okay.
It says Nas wins best rap album, but I'm like, I don't remember Nas.
I don't remember them saying his name.
Me either. But yeah, it says Nas wins his first Grammy for best rap album.
Yeah.
What? Did they even show that?
I don't think so. Tripping? I told you, I think they cut a lot of that stuff out. I think they cut a lot of stuff out. And just, it was just performances.
Yeah, because like you said, any other award show or anything that's this big, I don't ever remember there only being a couple awards given
Yeah.
out. So why chop and edit so much out though? That's like a big deal. Nas winning best rap album?
Yeah.
Why wouldn't you talk about that?
I don't, that's weird.
That
I
is really weird.
I guess just trying to get ratings, they just went for performances. You know what I mean? Just saying like the only way I guess people will
The
watch if
first half of the performances wasn't even, they didn't even pick good performances.
it was very yeah, that's what it was. Harry, Billy, and Haim, and they were like a B minus. And then it
Mm,
was the baby who went downhill,
I don't know
and
what the
then it
fuck that
was the
was.
country singers who definitely got you, and then Lionel Richie got you energized.
We're not going to talk about how Lionel Richie got me energized, but don't they save the country music shit for like the fucking CMT awards?
But you
Is
can't
that
do
me being
that.
shitty? Oh no, let me.
That's
Was
like
I
moving the
bad?
black the rap awards are like isn't the rap awards for the BET?
Oh, that's shitty.
Like we
Oh, okay,
can't do
I didn't
that
even think
to
about it like that. Okay, let me
yeah.
not even do that to my people. I apologize.
Yeah.
Ooh,
They
not
just
my.
they in the middle. We put them in the middle so people can't leave. Like you're forced to watch them.
I'm forced to watch them, but I feel like they have more performances than
It
anything or anybody else.
it just it came on strong and they bored you. There wasn't because but I know we're ending. Roddy Rich, I did love his performance. He could sing and play the piano.
Roddy Rich is a very talented individual.
Yeah,
I like Roddy Rich.
that's what I learned.
That's what you learned today?
Yeah,
The Roddy. Yeah, I've always wondered what he would be like live. I can't wait to see him come out with some more stuff though.
yeah.
Cause
He had a good album. That's what he would be good to see on tour too. But we don't
very
know when that's
true.
gonna happen.
But yeah, now here's I don't really have too much to say about him. I don't know, like it was good, but
Yeah.
again, I don't think anything really wowed me today at this point.
All right. What are your parting thoughts as we end this Grammy wrap up?
What the fuck was that? Like,
What? What?
what the fuck was the Grammys this year? That's what I'm saying. Like, what the fuck was
Oh.
that? That is my partying thoughts. That sounds terrible, but it's just if I wasn't doing this podcast, I don't think that I would have lost any sleep over missing this. I expected a lot more from it. I'm not trying to end this on a negative note. There was a lot of positive, beautiful things that I saw
Oh
about this,
no.
but god damn, the Grammys fucking sucked this year. If I could have got away with not watching this, I would have, and that's how I feel, and that's how I'm going out. I said what I said.
No. Hey. And I see why the weekend boycotted. And the only thing I have to say is, why wasn't the weekend nominated for anything? Is that why he boycotted? Because that's the only thing that got me confused and leaving a little wondering.
Yeah, I wonder. I honestly, now that you say, I didn't even think about that. Why didn't he get nominated for anything?
Yeah.
It's because he performed at the Super Bowl. They mm-mm.
Oh, they said that didn't make no damn sense. Oh,
That didn't make no damn sense. But they said he ain't cutting it. You did it at the Super Bowl. You can't. You just it's rigged. Remember,
yeah, you're right. You're
kind of like
right.
the NBA at this point. Everything.
It's
I
it's
don't even know
all
what to believe
it's all
anymore.
control. We just puppets. They playing the I'm,
Naturally, smoke and mirrors, man. But I'm I'm
no.
smacked. I'm nervous. I'm excited,
Bree
and
was
I'm
nervous her
tired.
first time. She did great, everyone. She did great. Okay.
Thank you. I
Yeah.
appreciate it, but I was really nervous. And just so you know, I never stay up this late for nobody. I be having to get up work at 7 a.m. I yell at people. I'm in bed at 8:30, like on weeknights. So I'm excited to. Maybe I don't have to be up this late every Sunday though, but we'll see. It's fine. It's fine. I'm here for it.
Hey, good morning.
How
How are
you doing?
you?
I'm good.
Good. You chilling?
Yeah. It's a little rainy. It's a little damp, but I good vibes, good energy.
Where, where are you?
I just came back to OKC where I went to undergrad, and I'll be leaving in 5 months. But yeah, it's
Are you
not
still
too.
going to, where are you going? Are you still going to, weren't you saying like Asia or something?
I will, but they're not opening borders, so I'm going to Chicago. I'm going to grad school in Chicago.
Oh shit. Congratulations. That's dope. Chicago's cold, but I'm here. It's a beautiful city. I've never been.
I haven't either. That's what, yeah.
Well,
Take
fuck
him
it.
from his mouth. Exactly. That's what, why not? I never went to New York when I moved, and I'm just like, yeah,
I feel that.
it's much
I feel
fun.
that. It's a city. It's the second, it's what, like second to New York. So if you made it in New York, Chicago's going to be like
Yeah, I'm not
nothing.
intimidated at all. I'm just like, been there, done that. This is a little better.
Exactly. For sure. That's exciting. Good.
Were you in
Dope.
upstate? You went back home, did you? Finally?
Yeah, I did. I'm here. I'm
Don't
here.
sound too happy about it either. No.
No, it's like one of those things where it's like Brooklyn. I mean, I love Brooklyn. Will always, always, always love Brooklyn. I was there for like 8 years. I worked there for 10. So I definitely miss it. But at the same time, when I came back up here and put myself in storage, it was like, well, where do I want to go? And then everyone's like, where are you coming? Are you going to come back? And now I'm in that like weird space where I'm like, I always am like always forward, never backwards. And it also feels like me going back is going backwards. So I'm like,
Yeah.
I think this forced me to leave because there's something new, but it's just hard to figure out what that new is yet when we're just still on lockdown. So again, it's like
Yeah.
I'm starting to like write out a plan of like the same as you, like in the next 6 months, like what's my plan? What do I want to be? What do I want to do? Because I don't think my office would even open until 2022. And I really don't foresee me staying until
Still there.
2022
Yeah.
anyway. So who knows? Who knows? We'll
Yeah.
see.
It's crazy that even 2022 is already only like 9 months away. So
It is crazy. It also feels, I don't know, it also feels like not even that close. Like I feel like we're just still like I feel like we're still in like the aftermath of 2020 anyway. So it's crazy to even think this is a new year. Energetically, it feels like a new year, but because last year was a very, very heavy year. So this year it's more just like kind of settling in. I feel very like settled, like we're just settling into this now. But then again, like we're going to be hit with another change very shortly when the world reopens, quote unquote.
yeah.
So it's a really interesting time because it's like we're never going back. We're never going back to what that was. So we'll see what 2022 brings. But in the meantime, 2021 hopefully is just very, very much less heavy for me. Like just a less heavy year. Let it be easy is my mantra.
Obviously, yeah, you definitely don't seem like you had too great of a year though. I'm like, a lot of people either came out harder or better, but I'm like, I feel like I've came out a lot lighter, and it was hard in the beginning, but my second half was good.
It was a lot of growth in a very short amount of time, I'd say. I think for everyone, I mean, I think it just, for whatever reason, our sense of normalcy was just like completely like just stripped away
Yeah.
to essentials. Like, what do you really need to survive? What do you really need to be happy?
Exactly.
What do
Yeah.
you define yourself with? And
All
why do
those
you
questions.
all those questions? Like, why do you even define yourself by that? And what happens when you don't have that? Then who are you? And so it was so much inner work because we had nowhere to go, to run to distract ourselves from. It was like, no, this is the time where you sit and this is the time where you're starting to rewrite your story and you're rewriting your life in a very, I guess, like in a very different way than we've ever had the opportunity to do before.
Yeah, you were forced to. And
Forced. Yeah.
that's what you articulated perfectly, everything I went through and everything I was feeling. Because I was forced to ask myself all those questions. That's why even now, like I used to could watch so much mindless Netflix TV, and like if it's not very well made, a very good show or interesting and gives me some type of like I'm gonna get something out of, I'm like, what am I doing? I'll just go to bed at 9:30 because to start like, well, what's the point of this staying up here just to entertain myself with mind
Agreed.
numbing like this? That's what.
Agreed.
Yeah.
We're the same way. Like I'm the same way. Like if it's 9:30 and I feel myself getting tired, I'm like, I'm just gonna go to bed. I'll just go read or something. Because I remember even last year trying to watch TV in like the height of the pandemic was really challenging because we were terrified. Like we were just so afraid. And then to try to like numb it with TV shows where you're seeing people interact the way we did
Mhm.
2 weeks ago was so difficult. I remember
Yeah.
like we really couldn't watch anything. Like nothing was able to distract us. The only thing I was able to watch was like Bear Grylls, like trying to like
How am
climb
I
Mount
gonna survive?
Everest.
Yeah.
Right? I remember like that was the main thing I was watching because it was just like something that like anything where it was just like real life people talking. I was like, I can't get into this. I need like something that's so far out of reach that can just like entertain my mind out of this current reality in some way, shape, or form. And then even this year, it's the
Oh,
same thing.
yeah.
Like, what are we distracting ourselves with? What are we? Because I think for me, it really came down to like learning about where am I putting my energy. And even
Mhm.
last year was just such like a big understanding of where, for me, I call it tabs, like like tabs on your computer, but tabs in your mind, like what tabs
Yeah.
are open, and then all the tabs were closed. So then what tabs do you want to open now? And where do you want to put your energy? Do you want to put your energy towards fear, or do you want to put your energy towards yourself, or do you want to put your energy towards healing and forgiveness? And like now you have the time to really dive deep into those things that you just always would say to yourself, I don't have time. I
Yeah.
don't have time to deal with this. I don't have time to unpack this. Like I never have time. And so I think it's was a really different type of like we said, like where you're putting your energy, where are you putting your focus, where are you putting parts of yourself for other people, what are you getting back from other people, what type of relationships are you holding on to that aren't serving you, that aren't giving you any type of what you need anymore. Because when it came down to like bare essentials, you had to really fuel yourself with as much protection as you could. And then it's like, well, where else can I put it? And I'm not exerting myself for all of these people anymore,
Yeah.
or all of these jobs anymore, or this doesn't matter. And it was really, I remember it was just like a very obviously challenging moment, because I think it was hard for a lot of people, and including me, because our jobs were just like work.
That's
We're like like what does this say? They said, what was the email I got? It was like oh my god, I wish I could remember it. It was like, it was basically like work as normal. Like work goes on. We're working as if this is normal, this is new way of life. Work as usual, I think is what they said. And I was like, we are terrified for our safety, for our lives, for the lives of our grandparents, for the lives of our parents. Like, how can this job or this career or this mindset, how is that even serving me? And so a lot of people ended up seeing their job and seeing their career and seeing the people they work for in such a different light,
yeah.
because they were like, they really don't give a fuck about me. You know what I mean? They don't care about our mental health at all. They're
Mhm.
saying like work goes on, and we're like, how does it go on? We're in a pandemic, and I can't exert myself the way I was 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
We're trying to figure out where we're moving to, where we're living, if we're staying, if we're going. And like it was just all so much. And I remember it was like a year ago almost to this day. I don't even, yeah, it was like a year ago almost to this day that it was like the last day in the office before
This
I remember
same.
we started working from home.
Mhm.
And I think it was like my birthday's on Wednesday, and like that whole week last year was just like the most terrifying week, because
Oh,
that's when
happy belated
everything
birthday.
started shut. Oh, it's next week, but thank
Oh,
you.
next one. Okay. All right.
But it was like the week that everything started shutting down. And just like, it's crazy that it's been a year already, as
Yeah.
much as so much has happened between
So.
then and now.
Mhm.
Yeah. So we'll see what next year brings.
Yeah, we just went on all into it. So you can just go ahead, keep explaining to a little bit about, I guess, your experience the past year, because this year is way different than
Yeah.
any other, and everyone's going to have like an asterisk on their life for this year. So I guess start by describing what this year personally meant to you and kind of what you went through this year.
2020 or 2021? Which year?
They feel
It's
like the
all the same.
same. They're like 2021 is going to have an asterisk to it too, but 2020, because yeah.
2020.
And
2020 was a very interesting, gut wrenching year. Honestly, I don't know how else to describe it. I've been through types of like spiritual awakenings before, but the like I said before, was always like wrapped around little things, but it was always my decision to
Yeah.
change. It was always, you know, I mean, it was a personal decision. And I people always say like, oh, I went through my spiritual awakening, blah blah blah, and I was like, I started realizing as I've gotten older that there's multiple. It's not like you're awakened one time.
Yeah.
It's like you have multiple times that you're awakened to different parts of yourself that you need to change or fix or stop blaming other people for, and like stop being the victim for, and all of those things. But this one was like a forced awakening, forced on us, of instant change, where I left the year 2020, like the buildup of it, you felt it. I remember being in the city, and like I was fortunate or unfortunate, but my brother, I have two older brothers, my middle brother Nick was following the coronavirus for months. I
Wow.
think started probably around like December. He started being like, something weird's happening in China, like something weird's happening over there. Like they're locking down their cities, people are getting really sick, yada yada yada. And I'm just so not about that. I'm like, listen, so I know that you're trying to terrify me, but I like to live in light and love. So you can take you can take your terrifying news and just go away with it, because 2020 is going to be my year. I was like, 2020 is going to be my year. I have a job that I really like. I have coworkers that I love. Um, my friends are doing really well. I'm feeling really good. Like I think we all went into 2020
Oh,
being like bye, like 2020 is going to be the shit. And then like slowly as like January started unraveling and February started unraveling, it started getting more and more real. And I was in my office probably at the beginning of March around my birthday, and I was still feeling like positive. Like it was scary, but I was like, you know what, but it's going to be fine. Like it's going to be fine. Like I was like, it's going to be fine. I don't know. It was just like one of those like naivete mindsets of like, I don't want to see it. I don't want to see it. I wasn't seeing it. While on the other hand, my brother was like, we need to get food. We need to get toilet paper. We need to stock up. They're going to close bridges. They're going to, and I was like, Nick, what the f- are you talking about? Like, that's not going to happen. And then it happened.
yeah.
Like, and then I remember the beginning of March it happened. And so I was in New York for about 2 weeks, until like I have two roommates. I was living with my best friend for like 8 years, and then I had another roommate, and my best friend went to Williamsburg to stay with her boyfriend, and then it was me and my other roommate, and we were just going to buckle down in Brooklyn. We were like, we're just going to stay here, we're just going to ride it out, blah 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 blah. And then like it started getting real, where like we started like seeing that like young kids were getting it. And I have family that all of my cousins and aunts are nurses, and all of her friends are nurses, and they're like, yo, the hospitals are crazy. And then all of a sudden, like in the city, all you're hearing is ambulances. And I was like, oh my god, guys, this is like actually fucking terrifying. Like then it was just like anxiety attack after anxiety attack after anxiety attack. And it was one of those moments where I remember sitting in my room because my brother was like, let's just go upstate. And I was just so against going upstate, because I was like, I don't want to go home, like to my parents' house. Like, this is my home. Like,
Yeah.
this is where I live. This is my apartment. Like, I'm not leaving. You can't make me
Yeah.
leave. Like, I remember being like, no, like, you cannot make me leave. And again, it was like one of those moments where forced change of being like, well, are you your apartment? Is that what you define yourself
Yeah.
as? What actually is home to you? When the world is ending, who do you want to surround yourself with? Do you want to be by yourself, or do you want to surround yourself with your family? Wouldn't you rather be home with your family and make sure that your parents are safe, and like make sure your parents aren't going to the grocery store? And it was just like one of those moments of just like consistent sacrificing that felt like sacrifices, but also just like really redefining in such a short moment what your priorities are, and what defines you, and what you can live with and what you can't live with, and like all of those things. And it was the hardest thing I ever had to do, was to leave Brooklyn, because we didn't know when we were coming back.
Yeah.
It was like, I remember I remember being like, LOL to the fact that we thought we were going to be on lockdown for 2 weeks. Like that was hysterical that we all thought that. And but
Yeah.
we had no idea what we were getting into. We had no idea what we were getting into. And I just remember deciding to come home. And it was a huge struggle. It was a huge struggle for me because I just wanted what I knew. I felt the safest in my home, like at my house. And my parents' house is beautiful, but it wasn't my home. And to be like just like to be picked up and moved somewhere and then have to find like what grounds you without any conditions around you, meaning like for me, I always like try to remind myself what conditions am I putting on things. So like, am I a grounded person, or do I just feel grounded because I have my meditation pillow and I have my crystals and I have my view and I have my apartment? Like, is that what makes me me, or am I me no matter where I am? Because you have to be you no matter where you are. And so it was like one of those, like, again, like that spiritual, like forced awakening happened so quickly. And so it was a lot. So, like, from then until the end of 2020, because I ended up going back to Brooklyn in May
How long
and
did you?
riding.
Okay, so you stayed what, 2 months
I stayed,
with your parents?
I want to say, that's a good question. I want to say about 8 weeks. Yeah.
Yeah.
All of April, which was like the longest month in the world. I
April, because you kept thinking it was gonna. I remember you
and
wanted to go outside, and it kept getting extended. You're like, "Are we gonna be able to go out now? Are we gonna?" It's like, no,
it
extended.
was like, no, extended, we're extended. And I was like, yo, like, oh my God. Like, I remember April just being like, because I kept being like, okay, I'm going home next weekend. All right, I'm going home next. And it just kept being like this constant, like, never ending, when are we going? And then of course, when things happen, they always happen at the same time. Christina, my roommate, was like, I'm going to move in with Ellie because I've been living with him for like the last 4 months during this pandemic. So then I had to like decide very quickly if I was re-signing my lease. And I was like, I'm not ready to leave my apartment, because a lot of my friends were like, yo, I'm leaving, like, I'm not
Yeah,
re-signing my lease, I'm putting my shit in storage, like, I'm out. And I was like, I'm not ready to leave yet. That's my home, like, still in my mind. And I was fortunate enough, because by the grace of God, I manifested. I swear to God, because I was like, I'm just going to ask for a 6 month lease. I'm not going to ask for a full year. I think it's ridiculous that they're asking people to sign a full year. So I'm just going to pray and manifest a 6 month lease and say they're going to give me a 6 month lease. They'd rather give me a 6 month lease than have no tenants at all. And they did. And so I had from June until December 1st to figure out. I just needed more time to figure out
yeah.
what I wanted to do. And so I went back in May, and I had to like get the apartment ready because I found a roommate in the middle of the pandemic. By the grace of God, again, I manifested her out of thin air. And like I was like, I don't know how I'm going to do this. Like, it was just such a stressful time, because I just remember it being a stressful time. But also, again, like, waking up and grounding myself and saying, like, very much just tapping into all of the tools I've learned. And that's what I kept trying to tell, like, my friends and my family. I was like, this is when you bring in all of the tools you've cultivated for yourself.
Mhm.
This is when you pull them in. This is when you pull in your faith. This is when you pull in your hope. This is when you get on your knees and pray. Like, whatever rituals you have, this is what they're for. Sure, we can meditate because we want to be grounded before we go to work. But when shit is hitting the fan like it is right now, this is when you pull upon your spiritual practice. This is what you've been training for. This is why the universe and God has been training you since you were, for whatever reason, whenever you started deciding or figuring out, or trying to feel more grounded and embodied in whatever, like, this is what it's been training you for, this moment. So, like, draw it in, call upon all of those tools that you have, and draw it in. And so I found another roommate. I got the apartment set up in June, and I stayed in Brooklyn all the way to December 1st. And it was a beautiful time. I mean, because it was a beautiful time because I loved my apartment and all of those things, but it was also a lot of change still. Um,
I
a
left
lot
in
of,
August. I'll tell you then. So I don't know the city
yeah.
past August. What happened past then?
So it was like one of those moments where it was like, we started like coming out, but you were still not able to see people. So it was still a lot of time alone. I think I spent the most time by myself that I ever had. in like those 6 months, because a lot of my friends left and never came back. A lot of people that I thought were going to be there ended up moving, or they said like, I'm leaving, this is the opportunity we have to travel or to just try something else, I'm going to just like go here, you know what I mean? So a lot of so all of my like all of the things I thought I was going home for were no longer. And which was another huge shift, because even like my best friend Christina, who I lived with for 8 years, she left. And I was like, okay, so who's my family now? Like, like, can I be my own family? Like, how can I navigate this time by myself? Because my new roommate, she's amazing, but she's a stranger.
Yeah,
Like, you
what do
know
you
what
know
I
about?
mean?
Yeah, I completely
So
understand.
like all of the people that were my support system and all of the people that I drew upon because they were my home, like, were gone. And but the city was slowly coming back to life. And then it was just like slowly picking and finding those new selective people that you could just like walk to the park with or like sit in the park with. But honestly, a lot of that time was by myself. I'm not even kidding. Like a lot of that time was by myself between May and December, because my roommate, who was my other, I had two roommates. One went to Jersey with me, never came back. And
Okay.
then the second one, Molly, who moved in with me, she was still going to work every day. So then all day I was like working from home and by myself. And it was a very, as challenging as it was, I feel like I walked out of there really understanding so many more things about myself that I really didn't know, because all of my comfort blankets were stripped away. I think everyone's was, but in such like a profound way where you're just, where I remember being like, yo, Alyssa, like it's you and you. Like regardless, like that's really what I think a lot of people realize. Like it's you and you to the end of the day, till death do you part. Like it's you and yourself.
Yeah.
And no matter who comes and joins you for this journey, you don't know the time. The only thing you know is when you meet, but there's no way to know how long they're going to stay.
Yeah.
You really have no idea how long they're going to be in your energy. It could be lifelong time or whatever, but no matter who comes into your planet, into your orbit, you are the steady rock, you are the tree, you are the foundation. It's you, at the end of the day, you showing up for you, you being there for you, you taking care of you, no longer relying on anyone else other than you. Like, what do you need to feel grounded? What do you need to feel safe? What do you need to feel at home and feel at peace when you have nothing
Yeah.
really anymore? Like nothing that you knew was, nothing I knew, nothing we knew was there anymore. And so that's how I feel like I kind of like emerged out of 2020. And then when I put my things in storage in December, it was, that was such a decision. That was probably the hardest decision ever had to make, because I tried really hard to find a 1 bedroom apartment. I was like, I'm not
Oh,
leaving. Yeah, I was like, not leaving. I tried really hard and I was just like, no, this is going to be great. No one's here. It's like 20% capacity at this time. They're going to be throwing apartments at me. Not the case. Like, not the case. They're like, we still need 1750. And I was like, for what? Like, for what? Like, I was like, this is still, the rents were still what they were. And I was like, I can't. I was like, so you know what? I was like, time out, Alyssa. What are you staying for?
yeah.
Can you just take a beat? Like, just take a beat. And a lot of my friends were like, Alyssa, just take a beat. And I was like, I think you're right. I think this is a beautiful opportunity for me to just really take a beat. You go through so much in the city,
Yeah.
so many moments, so much growth in such a short amount of time for yourself, with your friends, with relationships, with dating, with everything. Take a beat and like go somewhere where you're not surrounded by noise for a little bit. It's like the only opportunity you really have to
Yeah.
just like be quiet and just go somewhere where it's quiet and just regather who you are. So then, whenever the world does open, you're reemerging with such a stronger sense of who you are. So then, no matter, because I think truly, like when we walk back into this world, we're going to be so much stronger than we even know. And I don't even think we know it yet because we're still on lockdown. But it's like, just imagine who we're going to be now, who we were when we walked when we got into lockdown in March of 2020, and who we're going to be walking out of the door as in January of 2022.
I think that depends on the person. I was gonna write on this because I think there's certain people that actually embraced like that anxiety from the anxiety of COVID, the anxiety of not being able to like, and actually realizing what that meant and embracing and having to challenge themselves. And I think there's other
Mm-hmm.
people who didn't want to face it and also acted like, you know, the pandemic wasn't real and still went out and, you know, they didn't let their life have boulders because of the pandemic. And for those people, I don't know if they will experience those changes.
Yeah, it's interesting because I think even though, I mean, there's the polarity in everything in life,
Yeah.
you know, there's you have to see both sides. That's just the way the universe was made. You can't know what darkness is if there's no light to compare it to. I think even for those people, I think even for those people, they're still finding who they are in some way, shape, or form. Because when you're finding what you agree with and what you disagree with, and even the people who are just like, F these laws, you can't tell me what to do. That's fine to be that person because all you're discovering is that that's your
Oh,
stance. You know what I mean? Like that's your stance.
you're right. Yeah.
And that's a beautiful, is it in the right context? No, but you need those people in this
Yeah.
world who are going to march for that and march for your rights and march for our independence and not march because the government tells us what to do. Like you need those people who are going to say like, no, you can't tell me what to do. You can't make me wear a mask on my face. You're right. No one can make you wear a mask on your
Yeah.
face. You're absolutely right.
Yeah.
Do we think it's good for the whole, for like the safety of the collective? Of course. But then you always have those people who are going to say no. And as much as it's like some of us disagree or whatever, I still think you need to find, like, I always find like power in that. And I say those are people that when they're on your team, you're going to want to be marching on your team.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so even so, I always think it's us like learning all of these things about ourselves that we didn't know before, of like, I'm someone who I'm someone who doesn't back down. I'm someone who has an opinion and disagrees and stands firm in my beliefs no matter who is telling me to disapprove them. Yeah, those are really powerful things to start to learn about yourself
I
at
guess,
the same time.
what were you gonna say?
And like at the same time, like all of those things that like that people are starting to figure out, like where their stance is and what their, like, you know, their power comes from, what their voice sounds like, what they really feel is right for them. Because it was one of those things where I think we were just constantly thrown so many opinions at us. It was impossible to navigate
Oh yeah.
because, and I remember my parents were thinking that, like, we don't know what's true and not true. Like, even with these vaccines, we don't know what's true or not true. And it always comes back to you
Yeah.
are the ruler of you. No one can make you get a vaccine. You have to decide for
Yeah.
yourself. Like, what is your gut, your instincts, your intuition telling you? That's what you navigate the world from. No longer, I think, are we going to put these rulers on such a high pedestal to be like, they're going to keep me safe and they're going to tell me what to do. You know, you keep you safe. You judge yourself. You dictate what's right or wrong for you. That's just always what it has to be.
Yeah.
You rule yourself. Like, and I think a lot of it was starting to, like, I think a lot of people just started realizing how to move through that, how to be their own, you know, guide, how to be their own ruler, how to be their own God, how to be their own government, how to govern themselves, where they're putting their energy, who do they want to listen to, all of those things, like who's governing you, I think was just like such a big moment for a lot of people.
Yeah. That makes a lot of sense. I
But I
was,
do agree what you were saying.
because that's what I want people to, you know, don't just take things as face valuable. but that's your own ability to, read between the lines and see not everything is black and white. And hopefully we all just have a good, similar gray area.
Yeah, I think it's always my thing was I really try to navigate neutral. And
Mm.
I think that's why for me meditation has saved my life in multiple ways because I don't navigate neutral. Like that is not there are some people that are just I was talking to my coworker about this yesterday, and I was like, there are just some people that just wake up and they just wake up happy. I'm like, for me, it's a choice. Like,
Oh,
there
no.
are just some souls and spirits that just wake up and they're just like, it's a beautiful day to be alive. And I'm like, for me, I have to get like, I don't operate that way. And that's fine because a lot of people, I think you have to figure out where you're
Mm.
operating. Like, do you operate like super high optimistic all the time? Or do you operate not optimistic all the time? And both ways are fine because
Yeah.
again, polarity, you need both people. You need the people who are just like, this is going to work. You need the people who are going to be like, wait a second, did you think about this, you know? And so I always have to bring it back to neutral, and that's just how I have to operate my life because I can easily operate super high, being like, just throwing all my dreams up into the world, acting like everything's going to work out great, which they could, but then also that loses my sense of like stability of being like, let's ground yourself, let's ground these ideas. Okay, you want this, well, what work do you actually have to take to get that? That's the polarity of both. So I
Okay.
always try to like operate neutral. And so I wasn't that's just the only way I could really like survive in this world for myself is like to try to always bring it back to like a neutral stance of being like nothing is good or bad. It just simply is. No one is good or bad. Everyone has the freedom to choose and to decide for themselves. I just try to operate as seeing both sides, like you're saying, like at all times of just being like, I'm neutral to it. I'm neutral to it. I'm trying to be neutral to it. Of course, there are going to be some things that get me super duper high, and there's going to be some things that get me super duper low. But I always have to like find that stillness in my day so I can bring my energy back to the neutral of being like, I'm going to just like kind of like not get attached to like these different stories and these different circumstances and like, can I go outside or can't I go outside? And do I wear a mask or don't wear a mask? You know what I mean? Like, just to see both sides and just be neutral in like your path of just being like I don't mind what happens because I know who I am. And it's a really hard thing to come to. It's not, and some people operate very easily. For me, I have to work at it every day. And that's why it's interesting when people say, um, how do you do it? Like, how do you, blah, blah, blah? And I'll always be like, it's work. Like, this does not come easy for me or for a lot of people, to find that balance of being neutral in a very heightened energy time. Um, and to not get attached and it's not to define yourself by the stories and the circumstances and it's just yeah. I don't know.
So when did you first start on the practice of centering yourself and grounding and everything, and even just discovering meditation and Reiki? And
Yeah, my whole, it's one of those things where you start when, for me, I started yoga. That was my gateway. And I think yoga is the gateway for a lot of people because it's a physical practice. And so you really just go to yoga class. You're just like, I want to get in sick yoga shape. Like, look at all these yoga bodies. I want that. Like, I want to be flexible. I want to be strong. Like, you know. And for me, I just right like tree pose.
how old were you when you started? Were you teen? Was it adult? Then
No, people are very surprised, but I was in my 20s when I
oh,
started yoga. My mom and I used to do some yoga. I was an athlete my whole life. I still am. I don't like saying like I'm working out. I'm like I like to train. Like I like to train for things. Like if you just tell me go work out, I'll be like that's so boring. Like what am I working out for? I need like an end goal. Like what am I training to do?
New York City
So
Marathon. Duh. No.
I did run the half marathon. That
Oh,
was a fun. That
congrats.
was
Okay.
fun. Oh,
Nice.
thank you. That was my 30th birthday present to myself. Oh no, 31. It was 3.1 for my 31 was what I used to do.
Love it.
Yeah. So for me, so like physical, for me, like whenever I'm going through like a big shift in my life, physical practice comes in really handy for me, which is why also I started running for the half marathon, because I was going through like an extreme like change from my 30. 30 wasn't hard. 31 was hard for me. Like 30 was like, you're 30. 31 was like, shit got real quick between like 30 and 31. Like the universe just started like pulling people out of my life. They're like, they ain't coming to with you. You know what I mean? Like this friend and this friend and this friend and this friend and this relationship and this, they're not coming with you into your 30s. Like they're gone, poof, gone. Like you're never going to hear from them. You're never going to see, like so much change. Yeah.
I'm coming there. I'll be there in a year. So here we go.
It happens. And it's one of those things where when it's occurring, it's interesting because when people go through like these spiritual awakenings, it's a rebirth. And that's what I try to remind a lot of my students. I'm like, spiritual awakenings are rebirths. So to rebirth, you got to burn shit down to rebuild. And no one tells you that. Like, no one tells you that your life falls apart because it's asking you to rebuild it differently.
Okay.
And so for me, when I was like 23, I just got out of like the most toxic relationship I've ever been in. And one of those most people experience this. It's like when you learn, it's like that for not even the first heartbreak, but like that toxic relationship where you're like, the only way you can escape it is if you burn it to the ground. Like, it's not like, oh, we left on amicable terms and like, I wish them well. It's like, no, I never want to hear from them, see from them ever again. I will never respond to a birthday text. I will never talk to them. Like, they are the most toxic. I can never let their energy back into my life. Burn to the ground, which all that teaches you is that you held on to the relationship for far too long. Like, that means that relationship was done years ago if you have to like escape it that way. Yeah. So it was such a manipulative relationship. And since I'm a Pisces and a very like intuitive / like caregiving person, I had to learn very quickly after that relationship how to set boundaries up, because I can be manipulated very easily from what I call energy vampires, of people who take my energy very easily from me. And I had no boundaries in my life at that point. And so the relationship was very much like, you don't love me, prove to me you love me. So it was like, you know what I mean? Like that constant, like, I have to prove my love. I have to prove my love. What else can I sacrifice for them? I have to prove myself. I never had an opinion. Their opinion, I wasn't enough. Their opinion was my opinion. Their friends were my friends. I wasn't allowed to have my own friends. That kind of a relationship. So then when that finally ended, I immediately got myself into therapy. And my therapist said, if you want to heal from something this toxic, balance it with yoga. Therapy is going to be amazing because you're going to unpack the past of what led you into the relationship that you just escaped from. Yoga is going to help heal. Yoga is going to help you find forgiveness in it. And my therapist, Glenna, I always say that God sends you whoever you need. And she was truly the only therapist I found that even recommended yoga for me. Huh. And I found it, and I did like, I think it was 108 days of yoga every day, 108 days straight yoga every day.
Man,
it was a huge commitment, because I remember I was just at the point in my life where I was like, I don't know who I am, which again is the spiritual awakening, rebuilding. Who are you then? Don't ask me who you are. Ask yourself who you are. Because I remember being like, I don't even know if these thoughts are my thoughts or these thoughts are their thoughts. And I don't know if I can trust this person because they told me I can't trust this friend, but I really do like this friend. So can I trust this friend? Unpacking all of the manipulative thoughts. Was
that the first time you were questioning yourself after that relationship?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Really? 100%. My first like heartbreak was in college, which I think a lot of people deal with. But that was the first, but then, you know, the universe does this, or God does this, and they say like, did you really learn your lesson from that first relationship? Because I'm going to send you someone just like that, and we're going to see if you learned.
And you didn't. Yeah.
And I didn't.
You fell for it.
I was like, okay, I learned now.
Yeah.
So sometimes people say like, I feel like I'm dating the same person. And I was just like, did you learn your lesson the first time? Because they're going to test you and they're going to see if you learned your lesson. Did you leave that relationship too late? Or are you going to see the same red flags in this one and leave? So it was like one of those. And so that was the first time that I was like, I really need to TO myself. I am not dating. I am 100% focusing on myself. And it was such freedom because it was the first time. I remember I was going out with my best friend and it was Friday night. And I remember looking at my phone and being like, no one knows where I am. I don't need to check in with anyone. I don't need to tell them what time I get home. I don't need to tell them what friends I'm seeing. Do they know them? Because it used to be like, well, I don't know them. You can't go see them. Like that type of relationship. And it was like, so then I started doing I did 108 days of straight yoga with the instructor, Travis Elliott. And he put out this program called the Ultimate Yogi, and it was 108 days. And at first it starts of just the physical practice, like the physical asanas. And it was very challenging. Every class was an hour long. I lived in a very small story apartment. I only had room to do it next to my bed. And I remember I had to roll out my mat next to my bed and I had to open up my closet because anytime we were doing like sun salutations, my hands would hit my clothes in my closet. And so I would always say like to my friends, I'm like, you don't need a lot to start anything. Like I started my practice, this in all I had room for was my mat.
Yeah.
All I had room for was my mat. And I woke up at 6 a.m. and I did my flow from 6 to 7 a.m. And then I got ready and I did it for 108 days. And it changed my life because it was the gateway. Because not only did I find, and I remember at the end of that 108 days, I remember 6 months later, I texted them and I said, I just want you to know, I forgive you and I hope you forgive me. Like that type of like just understanding of like the past is the past. I forgive you. I hope you forgive me. You were awful to me, but I was also awful to you. And like that type of like, so again, it was like the spiritual awakening of like, yes, you can claim yourself as the victim, but you also have to take ownership of you allowed them
Yeah.
to treat you that way.
Put
Also,
yourself
like
in
you
that
have
position. Yeah.
exactly like you have to take ownership of that also, and you have to take responsibility for that because you didn't draw the boundaries and you didn't walk away when you were supposed to, and you let them define you and you let them treat you that way. And why and that's when like you start really working on yourself. And then I just started doing yoga all the time. I really just became obsessed with like the practice and the asanas and the mindset shift that happens. And then I started, then I got certified, I think at like 27. I got certified later. I didn't get certified right away, but I got certified later. And when we were getting certified, we had to do meditation every day. It was part of our, because I don't know if you ever know anyone who's gotten yoga certification is crazy. It's like you have to do like 3 yoga classes a week, like with new teachers, and you have to meditate every day. Like it's a huge commitment for even 200 hours. Like you were just doing yoga all the time, plus practicing and like all of those things. But during our training, they brought in a meditation teacher. And I think like every 2 weeks, he would come in and meditate with us. And then I started experiencing the same high that I would get at the end of my yoga classes in a 20-minute meditation.
Yeah.
That kind of out of body experience of just of bliss and neutrality, of just complete neutrality for everything. And then I just started, and then I kind of started walking away from yoga and I just started meditating. I was like, this is kind of like, I can be both. I can do both. I don't have to always commit to like 90 minutes of yoga. I can have the same effect. And then I just started meditating slowly every day. I used to just be 5 minutes, then 10 minutes before work. I think I could do 20 minutes if I really want to, but it was one of those things where I just realized the more you do it, the more you're able to tap into what or I like to refer to as the meditative mind. And that meditative mind is that neutral mind.
Yeah.
It's where nothing is good or bad. You're not even you. It's what lives outside of you, the energy outside of yourself. And so and that's why I say it saved my life, because then once you start getting like good and better and a little more grounded then the life things that happen to you are a little more extreme. It's not like, oh, okay, he cheated on me and I'm out. It's like, no, now you have to make big decisions, like
Yeah.
big adult decisions, but you've been training for this. Like, you know what I mean? Like these little meditations and these little yoga practices and this little mindfulness moments and the journaling have been training you so we can put bigger challenges for you to navigate through, because you have more tools now to navigate through these. That's why, like the saying of like, God never gives you more than you can handle. It's completely true, because the stronger you get in like your meditation practice and your spiritual practice and really coming into terms with who you are, the bigger challenges come to you, not because you're being punished, but because God or the universe knows you can handle it.
Yeah.
You can handle it now because you're so much stronger of an individual. You have boundaries, you know your worth, you're able to walk and talk and move differently. And I also just found that like when you start energetically moving from that kind of space, things just kind of start flowing in a very beautiful way where people start flowing in and out of your life that are teachers, that are mentors very easily, because your energy is vibrating on a higher level. So then the people that start finding you or crossing paths with you are very beautiful souls. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
your priorities start to change and you start to change. So the people you're talking to are also starting to change, which is why when you turn 30, all of that drama from your 20s is gone. And so it's like, who are these new characters that you're calling into your life now?
Yeah.
Because those characters they used to get drunk and high with, because that was how you were able to get high. And like now you don't need that anymore, because you're able to find that same high in meditation, in your physical movement, just by being with yourself. So what new characters are the universe going to bring to you now to support you on this next chapter? So that's always when it's like when things are breaking down, it's really because you're about to rebuild. And that's where like you have to try to find like the excitement. So even now, like being upstate, it's terrifying, it's scary, it's unsettling. What do I do? Where am I going? La la la. But at the same time, it's like this is the opportunity to rebuild. This is the opportunity where I can say, these are the people I want to draw into my life. I want to draw support systems from this. I want to meet more yoga, like, you know what I mean? And
Yeah.
then you just start putting your request in. I like to say, like, just starting, like, after your meditation, just start visualizing yourself being surrounded by those friends and that new apartment. And then, like, energetically, those things start being drawn into you. Um, but it always starts with that breakdown first. And I don't think a lot of people talk about that as much as they should, of that, like, of that moment where the relationship ended and you lost all your friends and you have to leave your apartment and you don't know what to do. It's you're a phoenix, like
Yeah.
you're
I
phoenix
was thinking
rising.
Phoenix. Yeah. I was.
Literally, like you're a phoenix rising from the ashes. And we go through so many deaths and rebirths in our life, and it's never just one time.
Yeah.
It's never just one time. Of course there's going to be those people that you chose before you, if you believe in reincarnation, that you chose to stay with you throughout. But then you have those other people that come and then they go. And
Mhm.
then you go away for 5 years, and they come back. And then they come back and they teach you something new, and they're in your life for another 2 years, and then they go and you go, and like and then when you stop being, like, for me, like my main thing was like surrender. That's always what I come back to, is this surrendering, this constant surrendering of the path that I'm on, knowing that people come and people go, and people who left aren't always gone forever. And you just have to trust that, like, when their energy draws them away, that's their path and that's okay. And so you can let them go, because maybe they come back. Maybe they need to heal something and you need to heal something before your rivers can join again. But we're all on our rivers combining,
Yeah.
twining, you know what I mean,
Yeah.
merging,
Well,
unmerging, like we're all like doing this dance together, and it's
yeah.
beautiful when we're able to kind of like see it that
And
way.
understand, yeah, that everyone's on their own path and just let the river flow. And yeah,
Exactly. Exactly, because it is one of those things where it's like that's been like my next like awakening, was just like this when I happened when I was in my 30s to 31, like this divine surrender, because everything was leaving. And I just had to literally I remember I was on my hands and my knees crying and throwing my hands up to God saying, I hand this to you.
Yeah.
I hand this to you. I trust you, because if this amount of people are leaving, I trust that better people are coming, because I trust where my river is flowing. I trust where you are taking me. And like, it's never easy to do when you're in that moment, but when you just surrender it, and I always would say God gives with one hand and takes with another, as in like when he's taking something away, it's because he's about to present you with something too. He doesn't just take.
Yeah.
You know, like that's not how the universe works. Like if they're taking something, they're about to deliver something. So just hold your hands up and be ready to receive it, and know that like you can't get attached to the characters, like I said before, like the characters in your life, because that's all 2020 and 2021 taught us, was like you can't define yourself by these
Funny.
characters. You're on your river,
Yeah.
and these people are going to come and they're going to go, but who are you when they leave, and who are you when they come back? You know what I mean? Like who's the steady, who's in control, like
Yeah.
who's the steadiness of who's directing your life, who's going to be steady in your life no matter what. And that is always you. And that's always you on that own river, and trusting that everyone's on their own journey. And so when people leave your life, you just wish them well, and you say, maybe our rivers will cross again. You know, if we said, like I think I was watching WandaVision last night, and at the end, I don't know if you watched that
I
show.
think you're late. I thought the finale was last week. I think you're behind.
I'm behind. I watched the finale yesterday, but
Okay.
I think the ending quote was like, we've said goodbye before, so there's a high probability that we'll say hello again. And it's like, I don't even think that was the right quote, but
It was a week ago. My memory is bad, but yeah.
but it was like one of those understandings where like there's never really a goodbye. You know what I mean? Like it really isn't. That's not, I don't, I mean, knock on wood, like I really don't know many people that I've said goodbye to that I've never said hello to
Yeah.
again in some way, shape, or form. But it's just that you have to trust that sometimes your plans get ruined because they're going to ruin you, or you're not ready, or what they're about to move through is too much for your soul to handle, and you need to focus on something else right now, and they need to be alone and focus on their healing, so they don't, you know, hurt you, because they're going to be moving through something serious, and they're going to project that onto you, and that's going to distract you from what you're trying to do. And so it's just always like just trusting that everything that comes and goes, and the people who come and go, are always there to teach you about yourself. And it's always bringing it back to like yourself. What is this moment supposed to teach me? What is this experience supposed to teach me? What is this relationship teaching me? What, like all of those questions. And so I really think that it's a lot of this spiritual awakening, you know, lingo, and this spirituality lingo. I always just say, if you're just asking yourself what your role is or what you're learning, then that's all it is. It's
Yeah.
just not playing the victim of it. And it's really just taking responsibility of being like, okay, you have even something as simple as like, you have a really difficult person to work with at work. Like I've had them, like that one person that just like rides you like so hard. Like you miss a period, they say, can you reformat this email? Like, you know what I mean? Like those people that are just so into details. I'm not a detailed oriented person that way, but I respect that, because I say, you're making me better.
Yeah.
You're making me better because you're making me realize I can't rush. Things take a process. And if I have to take 30 minutes to craft this email properly, then that's how long it's going to take. And you're teaching me to be patient with my work and know that I can't, you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
those types of lessons, but you always have to look at it higher, rather than like, she is just riding me. She doesn't ever let me get it. Yes, of course she is. But what's the purpose? Like,
It's
what's
not
the
attacking your character. Yeah. It's your,
exactly, like what's the soul's perspective? Like what's the soul trying to learn in this moment?
yeah.
That you're not good with attention to detail. Okay, that's a flaw. Well, she's teaching you how to be better. She's teaching you by her way of doing things. So look at her emails. How is she crafting them? What's the, like, you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
taking things as more like a learning perspective. And then giving honor and praise to that, to be like, you know, they're so good. And And then I always found, like, when I deal with those kind of people, if you pray, like, not if you praise them, but if you just let them know that you realize that about them.
Yeah.
So I have like a coworker who's just so effing good at crafting emails. Like, just like, she takes her time to craft these emails so well. And I read them and I go, I remember I texted her and I said, I literally want to frame that email and put it on my wall. It was so well done, like so well thought through. And she like LOL'd at me, but like it was one of those moments where then like it's kind of been smooth sailing since then, because she knows that I know I'm not as good as her, but I see her talent in that. And so now what we do is I say, hey, can you help me formulate this email?
Oh, there
And
you
so, you
go.
know what I mean? So now she's
Yeah.
helping me learn her tricks of like how to word things, and you know what I mean? So it's like, again, it's finding why you drew these people into your energy. Why did you manifest that person? Why did your soul bring that person into your life? What are they here to teach you or show you about yourself? Because you're not a victim in that way. It's like, what was I meant to learn, and am I learning it? Because as soon as you learn it, it goes. So it's like one of those things where like you're in a job that you hate. Well, are you learning? What tools are you learning in that job? Because as soon as you realize the tools that you're learning and you craft them so well, guaranteed another opportunity is going to present itself, because then you're ready.
Yeah.
That new opportunity can't present itself until you craft what you need to craft at this position. And so it's like learning the game in some way, like learning how to navigate the game and the flow and the energy, and like, constantly like navigating like the people in your life and giving them praise and honoring and respecting what they're really good at. They're really, because everyone's really good at something. And it's not like being like, I'm just really bad at that. No, it's like, for me, it's a challenge. But
Yeah.
at the same time, like, I'm grateful that I drew this woman in who's able to help me,
Yeah.
because I never would have realized it was a challenge for me until she showed me how much it was a challenge for me. I can't just like bang out emails. Like, I have to be very, I have to take a moment and say, like,
Oh,
how am I saying this?
agree.
Are these dates correct? Let me triple check this before I send this. And she'll still find things that are wrong, and that's okay. But I'm getting better. She
That's
finds less things wrong
there you go.
than she
There you
did at
go.
the beginning,
Oh,
you know?
yeah. That was exactly what, I'm not gonna lie, I was talking about with my therapist. Like everything, even being here for the short time, kind of, you have to put out what you want to put in, put out, like, there are something you can learn from the experiences and the people that you're going to be, even if it's for a short time and you think you're not going to get anything out of it. And what's the point of this? And no, like, put into practice all those tools, do it now to prepare you for what's next.
Exactly. And it's knowing that, and for me, it's just knowing that I started, when I really started surrendering to the notion that there are no coincidences, life and the magic of life just started to unfold in such a deeper way for me. Because then I started being like, if I truly believe there are no coincidences, and you see that there are no
Yeah.
coincidences, because the universe will show you,
Mhm.
like, you'll turn a corner and you'll run into your best friend. And then like things like that started happening
Yeah.
to me a lot. And I was like, how many things had to line up? I had to leave my house at this
This,
certain
yep.
time, get on this train, decide in this moment to turn right instead of my usual route, to
Mhm.
run into this friend that I was meant to see today, because she, like, if I didn't run into blah, 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 but she had to leave her house at this certain time. But
Yeah.
so then when you see these serendipities all the time, they happen to us constantly. So I was like, if we're so powerful in being able to create this type of magic,
Yeah.
then what if nothing is really a coincidence? What if everyone that we're on a train with on the subway is meant to be with us that day? What if my barista is meant to be my barista that day? What if the
That's my
person,
perspective. Yeah.
yeah, like what if everyone we see and interact with were meant to?
Yeah.
What if that's real? What if that's our reality? What if that's my truth? Then what does that mean? Like, how do I navigate my life differently if that's my truth and that's the way I want to live my truth now? that there are no coincidences in my life, that everyone I meet is divinely selected for me to meet in this lifetime. What a different way to navigate your life is then, you know? Um, even because then it's like if the notion of if everyone's a mirror to you, because everyone has similar traits to you, everyone's just showing you aspects of yourself. So even the people that you find super difficult moments with, I saw your face. Do you have a question
Oh
on
no,
that?
I was pondering because you were going deeper. That's why I like to create
No, I
a
get
mental image of,
right.
so
So
as you're
I use
talking
the
that.
example of like, okay, so you meet someone at a party. I used this example before in one of my yoga classes. I'm like, you meet someone at a party and they if your dream is, let's say your dream is to open up your own yoga studio, and at this party you meet someone who opens up their own yoga studio, and you're talking to them and you're vibing with them, and then you leave the party and you're just like, god damn it, like this sucks, like that's my fucking dream, and I just hate that, like it's so easy for them and it's so hard for me, and like they have things that I don't. That's like that victim mentality. But
Yeah.
really, if people are a mirror to you,
Okay.
sometimes the universe pops people into your life for sometimes a very short period just to say, hey, they don't have anything more than you have.
Yeah.
They just believed in themselves, And so if you want this dream, look at this person. They're not any different they're not a superhuman. They're just like you. You're just seeing this untapped potential in someone else reflected back to you.
Yeah.
And so and the same thing with like the coworker who's great with emails. That's just untapped potential that I'm seeing in physical form reflected back to me to make me realize that I need to work differently. And so that's what I mean when, like, if there's an aspect of someone, like I remember I was working with this other person and I just did not get along with them because they were similar to this, similar but a little different. They were just very like,
You can't craft emails. Is that what you're trying to say? You're
you
just
know,
not great at. I'm not great. My grammar, that's why I have to proofread like crazy. But that's
it's
pretty
not
much
so
what you're
much
trying
my
to say.
grammar, it's more
Okay.
so like I just like sending emails like I'm having a conversation, and I
Okay.
realizing like,
Yeah.
wait a second, let me word this differently. Let me be very proper in this email. So I remember, but it's like even something like that, like if you're even if there's an aspect of someone that you can't stand. I remember my roommate was going through this. They were like, she's just so mean and she's just this, and that. And I was just like, well, what about yourself? Like what's that personality trait in yourself
Yeah.
that you're not facing, that you also have, that you're seeing through that person? Like, what is it in you? Because why else would they be there? They're a mirror to you. So what is it within them that you can't stand, that you're
Yeah.
not realizing you also have within yourself? Whether it's just like, oh, they're just so rude. They're just so rude. They walk down the hallway and they don't even say hi to me. And then I would say to my friend, I'd be like, do you say hi to her when she's walking down the hallway? And she'd be like, well, no. And I'd be like, mirror reflection of you.
Yeah.
You don't say hi, she don't say hi. You know what I mean? So it's
Yeah.
just like, know that, like, yeah, that's rude as fuck, but like also like you have that rude aspect in yourself also, because you easily walk down the hallway not saying hi to her too. So it's like that type of like, that's why I say there's no coincidences. What are they here to teach you? Even if it's a difficult situation or a moment or a person, you're just like, oh, like, of course there are those people too that you're just like, I just don't like them.
Yeah.
Well, okay, you don't like them, but it's probably because there's something in yourself that like you got to face a little bit and be like,
Mhm.
you know what, I can be really manipulative and vindictive when I want to be, and I can be mean as fuck if I want to be also. I choose not to be, but I see that in them because that's what they're mirroring back to me. So either that's the energy I'm also putting forward, or
Yeah.
we need to come to like a come to Jesus moment where we're just like, we need to go to coffee and find a better way to work together, or a better way to navigate this, or a better way to be friends. Cause like, even if it's someone like my best friend's dating someone, I can't stand them. It's like, well, you need to figure out, what is that? Is it because they're really terrible? Is it because they're taking your best friend away from you?
Yeah. Which,
Like those types of like again, the saying like self reflection, it always comes back to you. those types of like moments in your life, where I think that's just the most amount of work that we can all do in this life, is to really just,
Work on ourselves and
work on yourselves, because then once you get better at unraveling the onion layer of who you are, then you're better to able to unravel what presents itself to you and see it for what it is, and smell bullshit a mile away.
Mhm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
See the red flags. You don't even need the red flags. You can smell red flags. You know what I mean? You're like, I don't even need to see them anymore.
Okay. So what else do you use besides yoga, meditation? What are your other practices?
So yoga, meditations are big ones. I also I have so many little mini rituals. I really just try to, throughout my day, um like throughout my day, I try to find little pockets of time to breathe. And it's as simple as just breathing. I think we don't breathe enough. I think we really, and even taking like 3 deep breaths every half hour, yeah, like it calms your nervous system down. Um, I like to go on walks and not listen to music. I like to be alone with my own thoughts. I like to journal. I don't journal as much as I can't even say that. I journal as much as I need to. There's
Someone
some moments where you journal more, and there's some moments where you don't journal at all.
I want for someone who wants to get into, what do you journal? Do you just, is it like, this is what I did today? This is how I feel today? Like,
There's so many different practices to journaling. It's interesting. It depends on what I need to move through. So sometimes if it's like yesterday I was journaling because I was thinking of like 6 months from now. Like, what do I want to be 6 months from now? So then it's more of like bullet point forms of like, this is what I want. You know what I mean? Then it's a different type of journaling. Then it's more just like, okay, like what I want to create, what am I good at? Because I'm trying to like do something different where it's venturing away from like just yoga and Reiki. I want to like start making products or start offering more ebooks and that type of stuff. So then that type of journaling is more so just like idea jotting down. Like I get little, it's what I call little pings. Like sometimes the universe gives you little pings of like, this is a good idea. And you're just like, oh, let me write that down. When I'm moving through something heavy, sometimes I write letters to myself. Sometimes if I have to find forgiveness through someone else, I write a letter to them.
oh,
um
awesome.
you know what I mean.
Yeah.
um Sometimes it's just like a dear diary moment of like dear diary, today was like that. Sometimes it's like that, but I think what I love the most about journaling, and what I always advise my friends to do, is to like make it easy. Don't overthink things like this. Like, don't overthink like a journaling technique. There's so many different ways, but I think the most important thing is sometimes people even do like, I think it's 20 minute of free writing, where they wake up in the morning and for 15 minutes they just free write. They don't even know what they're going to write about, but it helps brain dump your mind,
Yeah.
because it helps you clear out the static thoughts that are just stuck there, that you just need to get them out of you. So
Mhm.
then when you do that and then you go into meditation, you don't have so many lingering setting thoughts in your mind. So I really advise free writing. And if I don't have a lot of time, I just keep it super simple. Like, these are 3 things I'm grateful for. These are 3 things that if I do this week, I'll feel super accomplished. And these are 3 things that what is it? It's like and these are 3 things, or it's like 3 other things. Like, you know what I mean? Like, just keep it really like, what am I grateful for? Oh, this is what my body needs from me today. This is what I think my body needs from me today. And this is something that if I do today, I'll feel super accomplished.
Yeah.
Very simple. That takes like 5 minutes, and just and then you can free write afterwards. I also like the manifestation process of journaling as if my manifestation has already happened, which is a really beautiful manifestation technique of writing in your diary or in your journal, the like, if like, for example, like when I find my new apartment. So instead of saying like I'm looking for my new apartment, I would say like blah blah blah, like I'm so happy I moved into my new apartment today. It's exactly what I thought it would
Okay.
be. And you know what I mean? So you're
Yeah.
starting
In
you
future tense.
already in the future, giving thanks for what you don't have now, but in the future you're going to have. And it's a really powerful manifestation technique to do it that way, because you're writing it as if it's in the present moment, which draws it in faster. And it's also super fun to do that when you're trying to like say like, oh, I really want to travel to Egypt. You can say, my favorite part of traveling to Egypt was this. My favorite memory was this. I walked away learning this. And so you can start like cultivating like your future self, reflecting back on the trip that you took, even though you haven't already taken it yet. So it's like
Yeah.
you can get like super creative and fun. I know people who sketch, draw, paint, like it's just really a way for you to just like get out of the analytical mind and just start processing. I also recommend always using pen and paper. I don't recommend journaling in notes on your phone, because there's
Oh no.
actually studies done that like from your brain to your hand, it's a different type of channeling. Like you're channeling very differently when you're actually physically writing to when you're typing. Very different type. There's actually like, I forgot what it is. I'll try to find the article and send it to you, but there's actually like studies done about people who free write with their hand channel very differently. And it's interesting even when you're writing, because you write very differently than how you speak, because it's coming from a different part of your brain. So sometimes you're speaking like super loosey goosey, but then when you're writing very like, it sounds like you're writing from like another time. You know what I mean? Sometimes it feels like you're writing words that are, or the sentences you're crafting are from another time. It sounds like you're writing from like the 1920s, and you don't know why, but it's just the way that your mind processes thoughts. And you don't have to write fast, and it gives your mind a chance to like write slowly. And that's why I love writing, because the way I write is very different to the way I speak. And I think it's really beautiful that way, because that's just how my mind processes moments in my life in a very like poetic kind of way different than how I speak. I speak in a lot of slang, but I write very like slowly, and it's very different. And so I always recommend that, like, I say this to everyone about everything, especially when they're starting spirituality. I'm like, just try anything, everything, until you find what you love to do, and don't put rules on it, don't put conditions on it. This is the one place in our life where we get to be free in it. Don't put rules on meditation, don't put rules in yoga, don't put conditions on journaling. Like, just let yourself do it like
Yeah.
you're a kid. Like, just let yourself have fun.
Yeah.
Like, if you find that like it's funner to turn your, instead of writing this way, if it's funner to turn your page and write horizontally, like, there are no rules. Who says you can't do that? Like, you know what I mean? So it's fun to start doing it that way, because then you start to realize how many rules and boxes you put around yourself, and how much you want to like break out of that. um and so I just recommend, like, there's so many different ways and techniques, but it's just really like, just start doing it and see what comes out of it, what cultivates your soul, what gets you fired up, what gives you joy, whatever you want to do. So that's my recommend.
No, I definitely, now that you've explained it, I just put a bunch of rules on journaling and thought it had to be like what they tell you, because I have like 5 spirals always scattered out. I have a
Right.
planner where I have like what I want to accomplish like each day. Like I'm like, I
Hmm.
feel so much better if I write, plan ahead, like what do I want to accomplish? But I don't put it actually in one journal. They're all separate things and like different ideas. Yeah. I just
I
set.
have like 5 different journals, and for me, it's like, who cares? Like, it's just, there are some people, and it's just another form of you learning about yourself. So there are some people who journal very interestingly, and that's why I love looking at old diaries and old journals, because the way people formulate thoughts is so interesting to me for their mind. There are some people
Yeah.
that only could do bullet point. There's some people that could only have, that just want a blank sheet of paper. They don't even want any like lines on it at all, because they just love the freedom to like make some words big and some words small, and some are in print and some are in all caps and some are in cursive. And it's like, let your mind just explore it and just really tap into this. Like, I like to say, when people say, your feed your inner child, it's that, it's like fueling your inner child of just being like, there are no, what would you do if there were no rules? and just to go in it that way, which is hard for people
Yeah.
because then they start realizing like, wow, I really like rules though.
Yeah.
They're
It
like,
gives me
that's,
guidance. Yeah. It tells me like, okay, this is right, this is wrong, but there is no right or wrong. And
but there is no right, only to you. Like there's only a right or wrong to you. So then you start realizing like where your lines are with right and wrong. And like it's just it becomes another way of just exploring a different part of yourself. As easy as that, as easy as that of like, this is what I enjoy writing about, or this is how I enjoy writing, or these are how I like it to be broken down, or the rules I like to follow. And I do like certain conditions, but who am I when I don't have them? Who am I when I don't have to follow rules? Like, wow, like that's a whole different, okay, all right, that's making me uncomfortable. It's making me uncomfortable, but let's see what happens. Let's see what happens through this uncomfortability. Like what sparks out of that when I give my inner child the freedom that maybe I never gave it before,
I just
you know?
realized like there definitely needs to be way more practices, of course, with meditation being more readily available, but we teach kids, feel like from color inside the lines, everything. We're trying to teach them to follow rules and to do this. And you know what I mean? Teaching kids to follow
Hmm.
authority and not to think outside the box. And there is some, just in that, and there is a good reason for that. But then as soon as you become an adult, abstract thinking becomes what is, not required, but what is, and not quantified. I can't think of the word, but praise. Like, abstract
Yeah.
thinking is what is celebrated and thinking. And then, but it's hard to teach those same kids that you're trying to drill in to follow rules and follow order to now, okay, forget everything you learned and now just be free and think. And
Yeah.
yeah,
Which is why I always say like this is the one part of our life that we get to be free.
yeah,
Um Even when it comes to meditation, like yeah, that's why like even when my friends talk to me about meditation, I said yes, you can. I was actually writing an intro to meditation booklet because I was like there's so many rules under meditation, and it should be freeing. Like
yeah.
it should be freeing. Journaling should be freeing. No one's grading it.
Mhm.
So, you know what I mean? Like there's no reason to keep it so, and that's why I love art, and that's why I like sketching and drawing and painting because there's no rules. Like who cares about, there are no rules with it. Especially with meditation, like yes, you can sit here if that's what feels good for you. For me, I like to sit because I need stillness in my nervous system. I can be
Yeah,
very like this, but there are some people that they feel too static and they like to just close their eyes and dance. There's some people that find meditation when they're climbing because you have to be so in the moment as you're climbing a wall. You know
into
what I
your
mean? Like
breath and that. Yeah,
into your
yeah.
breath. And
Well
like
said.
there's meditation, walking meditations where you're just like, I'm not going to listen to music. I'm just going to hear, I'm going to see how many sounds I can pick up on in this 5-minute walk. And you're like, okay, I hear the wind, I hear birds, I hear the car. That's meditation. Just being in the physical moment that you're in, like
Yeah.
at this present time. And so I always really try to encourage people to free themselves of like the rules, the rule mindset, like entirely, especially when it comes to like journaling or it comes to meditation or it comes to anything in type of like the spiritual practice. Like it's the one way that we get to express ourselves for ourselves, um, with no one watching,
How
you
hard do you
know?
think that is for people? Just
Oh, I'm sure it's probably more, I think it's challenging for everyone. Um, but I find that's why I try to say have fun with it. Like don't try to make it like it's going to feel uncomfortable, of course, at first when you're just like, okay, like so there's not a specific way I have to do this. What does that feel like to me? So it's going to be, of course, challenging or uncomfortable. But again, that just is showing you new things about yourself because there are going to be some people that thrive
yeah,
when there are no rules and restrictions. And there are going to be other people who are like, no, I need to know A, B, C, and D. I need to know what I have to write about. I need to know what, you know what I mean? Like the people that use the meditation journals that say like, this is what I'm grateful for, this is what I want, and they just fill in the blanks. There's some people that like they really enjoy that. That's all good. It's just learning that about yourself so then you're able to use those tools in your everyday life. So then if you're in a moment and when you're interviewing for a job and they say we don't really have any rules here, you're going to be like that's not going to work for me.
yeah.
Because I learned in my life that I actually need rules to keep me like focused and grounded, and that's why, and my soul enjoys that. My soul enjoys that, and there are going to be other people who say, "Thank God." Like, thank God there's not like a strict time limit. I have to get into an office and leave the office, and I need that. I need that freedom. And other people were like, "No, no, no, no. I've learned my soul doesn't like that." Again, the polarity, you need both. And so I think it's like just freeing yourself to be able to explore what it is, so then you're able to just like navigate your life knowing what you know. Like, then you know what you know about yourself, and that's a beautiful thing to know. So then you're able to move through it knowing what you know, and drawing those boundaries, saying I'm not gonna dig that. Like, I'm not gonna dig that it's too loosey goosey here for me, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it's so varied, do you think meditation is pretty much for everyone? They just have to find what is their type and what works for them? Or do you think there are some people that it just wouldn't work for them?
I don't think meditation wouldn't work for any. Okay.
Yeah.
I think meditation works for everyone. I think meditation, I think the thing that people get hung up with about meditation is that it's hard to unpack, but I think a lot of people get hung up in meditation because they don't know how to really do it. They don't know what to accomplish with it. They don't know they're supposed to feel. They don't think they're doing it right. They, again, it's comes back to the conditions that a lot of people put on it before they even try it. And so meditation to me, I think, helps a lot of people because I like to call it like a brain dump in some ways. Like, we are so outside of our bodies all day. We are constantly figuring out, navigating energies, this thing, that thing, this tab's open, I have to do this. We're always running on autopilot, or you know what I mean? And it gives us a moment to get to know ourselves and to really get to sit with ourselves. And a lot of people fear that because they're like, I don't like this. Like, of course, it's uncomfortable because when was the last time you sat alone with yourself? Maybe when you were a kid. You know what I mean? Like, maybe when you were a kid. And so it's one of those things where for me, I love to use it because it helps me figure out what my mind is doing, like where my mind is going. If you're sitting in meditation and you realize, like, no matter how much you're pushing the thought away about that fight you had last night, it's coming back. And all that is to show you, like, okay, that's what's stuck there. That's what I have to move through. And it just gives you awareness around it. Like, it's all about the awareness. So then you have awareness around it. So then it's not overtaking you because then you have awareness. And as soon as you bring it into like an awareness factor, then you're able to have power over it and control it. And so I think a lot of people not fear it. I think people just don't understand. They think they're not supposed to think. And I don't know where that even came from. Like, I'm just like,
I was frustrated. I was like, I thought I wasn't supposed to think, like all these thoughts are coming. And then they're like, no, just let them flow. Just let them.
exactly. And so what happens is, what I like to tell my students is, like, you're never going to not think because your brain is made to think. But what you start to do is you start to be the observer of the thoughts that are coming in, rather than you saying, I'm thinking these thoughts. You get to observe how your mind just thinks on its own. And once you start to do it long enough and you're able to observe the thoughts, then you you formulate such a different awareness within yourself, because then you're like, okay, so I'm not my thoughts that are thinking. My mind just thinks 1,000 thoughts like every hour. So what thoughts am I attaching myself to? What thoughts am I creating a story around? What thoughts are helping me or pushing me forward? And what thoughts am I thinking that are deteriorating and like really harmful to like myself? And like, what are the thoughts what thoughts don't I agree with that I keep telling myself? What's on repeat in my mind that just doesn't stop, that I need to control so I can navigate my life better? So I think it's just such a beautiful tool, because it's like how well do you really know what's going on in your mind? Because once you're able to realize the thoughts that you're thinking, then you're able to control the thoughts that you're thinking in a little bit of a way. And then once you're able to control your thoughts that you're thinking, you're able to control your life.
Yeah.
And so it's just like that untapped tool that I think we need to teach children at this point, of like how to really start realizing what that we're able to control. Your mind's going to think thoughts.
Mm-hmm.
Which ones are you believing and which ones can you push away? So then when the thought pops in of like, you're doing something and the thought pops in of like you're dating someone new and you're just like, well, it's never going to last long because they always last long. Well, one, why is this moment your mind's saying that? Because that's the experience that you've had up
Yeah.
until now. So of course that's what your mind's saying. It hasn't experienced anything else. If it did, you would be married because you would have, you know what I mean? So of course that's what your mind's thinking. So it's like you realizing that thought and you're like, I'm not that thought. That's just what my mind's thinking. And I forgive that thought because that's been my experience up till now.
Yeah.
And you say like, all right, thank you, because that thought served me before, but I don't want to think that thought anymore. I'm going to think an optimistic thought. I'm going to say, maybe this is going to work out for me. And what does that thought feel like? That thought
Yeah.
actually gives me more peace of mind, and it actually makes me feel good, and it makes me feel optimistic. And so I'm going to go with that thought now. So thank you to this negative thought. I appreciate you because at one time you served, I acknowledge you, I honor you. I understand why you're here, but I'm going to go with this one. And so then it's you slowly starting to rewrite your thoughts to help you navigate your life and help you work from like a higher place of a higher understanding. You know what I mean? Like a higher frequency, because then you start navigating your life differently because you're thinking more optimistic thoughts. And that doesn't mean that I'm able to just navigate life and to be like, oh, I'm always thinking positive.
Yeah.
I move through super dark moments. Like I work through shadow work. I work through moments of like, oh my God, this friend's engaged and this one's having a baby and I'm turning 33 and I'm still single and I can easily tap into those fucking thoughts of being, you know what I mean? Like instantly. But it's when I sit and I make sure I find time to sit and I hear those thoughts coming through and I say, okay, obviously I have fear around this.
Yeah.
This is really bubbling in my brain and won't stop thinking about it. So what can I do? What can I think differently that's going to give me a peace? Okay, I'm going to think to myself that there's someone for everyone. There's a lid for every pot. You know what I mean? Like something like that. Like my person's coming. He's already selected. God already has a plan for me. I trust this path that I'm on. Like all of those things. And you start settling into that. And then you're able to navigate. But you don't really know what your mind's doing until you're able to be quiet enough to see what it is. And then you're able to move through your life in less like meditative mind, because what you're doing is you're training your mind as a muscle, and you're training it in a safe space like this, where like there's nothing happening around me. I'm here, and your mind is still going a million miles an hour thinking of really negative shit. And you're like, why are you doing, like, there's nothing to be scared of. Like, what the fuck? And then what you do is then like you train it in a very safe environment. So then when you're working through the world where there's like when COVID happened, you're able to instantly tap into that meditative mind and say, these thoughts are not giving me peace. So what can I rewrite this to? Okay, I am safe. I am protected. My family is safe. I am grateful. We just have to get through one day at a time. And that just immediately brings it back to that like neutral state. And so yes, I think meditation is for everyone. I think it's just that there's this like stigma around like what it actually is and what you're supposed to do, and you're not supposed to think thoughts. And it's like, no, it's you taking 5 minutes out of your day to just sit with yourself and realize what's going on, like what's going on up there. And it doesn't, and this is and the other thing I say is it's a practice. Like it's a practice. It's not supposed to be like, oh, there's an end date. It's like you do this every day because every day is different. Every day you wake up and life is different. So who you were yesterday what you meditated on yesterday has nothing to do about what you're going to meditate on today, or what thoughts you're going to be thinking today. Every day is different. Every moment is different. So it's really like learning and honoring that time for yourself, and really honoring that time for yourself. And yes, you're going to cry, and yes, you're going to move through heavy shit, and yes, you're going to reflect back on something that happened when you were 16 years old, and you're crying because you're just like, I can't believe I was so mean to my mom at that moment. But that's all healing. It's just healing. It's like, it's all through you healing these parts of yourself. But you have to get still enough to listen. Spirit doesn't come through loud. Spirit isn't going to come through loudly. Spirit comes through quietly, very quietly, subtle moments, subtle little hints. When you're on that walk, when you're in that shavasana, when you're in that meditation, it needs to be quiet. Your brain needs to be quiet enough for you to listen and you see what's really going on. And so I think a lot of people fear that quiet space because we never were raised in that type of reality where we gifted ourselves that quiet alone time. Exactly. But I think as soon as people start doing it, you don't even have to really know what you're doing. Just sit for 5 minutes and just start realizing the thoughts that you're thinking. And that takes a while even to get to that point, to start to like disconnect yourself from your thoughts, because you never trained your mind to do that. So that's why I say it's a practice. And I was talking to one of my friends because he just started meditation, and he's like, the hardest thing is that I just feel like I'm not doing it well. And I was like, you've been doing it for 3 weeks. Like, give yourself a minute. Like, I was like, do you think you're going to be like a guru, like within like an hour? I was just like,
think of anything you've done. Like,
right.
It takes running, you start lifting weight. I'm just trying to think of it, playing the guitar. You're not gonna be
everything.
at 3 weeks.
I was like, before I was able to run 13 miles, I ran 1.5 miles. Like, you train your body to get to that moment. And I've been meditating for about like 5-6 years now. So I can very quickly tap into my meditative state. But when I first started, I'd be sitting there and I'd be like, the timer would go off and I'd be like, I don't think I meditated at all.
Just sat here. Yeah.
I just sat here. I don't think I saw, but that's okay, because then I went to work saying my mind's racing today because I wasn't able to settle. So that's just like, again, that awareness for you to navigate your life of saying like, okay, my mind's racing today. So I'm not going to drink coffee. I'm just going to drink tea. I already know I'm really electric today. So what do I need to like calm myself down? What do I need? Maybe I need soup. Maybe you know what I mean? And then at the end of the day, and then the next day you wake up and guess what? For whatever reason, you're able to tap in quite easily. Doesn't, you know what I mean? So it's learning that you shift and you change every day, and like to just honor that alone time, to honor that stillness, to honor yourself enough to gift yourself that. And I think that's really what it is. It's finding that way to carve out those little moments of your day to give yourself that, because I think it's just so essential for everything that we move through in life. Life is hard enough. You don't want to be your own enemy. You know what I mean? And you don't need your mind to be your enemy. You need your mind on your side. You need your thoughts on your side. You need to be on your own side. Life is too hard. So let this be easy. Like, let what's easy be easy, and sitting down for 5 minutes and just closing your eyes and taking a couple deep breaths, that's easy. So just let it be easy. Don't overthink it,
Yeah. Okay. So I don't want to take up all your morning. We'll be.
I know it flew.
Yeah.
Well, we should do this again.
Yeah.
This was so much fun.
It was, definitely.
Yeah. Well,
anything you want to leave? Anything you look forward to doing? The changes? I know you don't know where you're going to live yet.
I don't know.
Or what you're going to be putting out. No, you do know shit. You do know shit.
I would say that I won't leave. I mean, I don't know what to leave with. I can always leave with what I leave yoga class with. But for me, I have my Instagram. I'm trying to work through like different things that I can create. I'm bouncing some ideas around. it's hard to find your niche in this world, but I'm trying to figure it out. So hopefully within the next 6 months, I'm going to be birthing something new, because again, we are all in a rebirth right now.
Yeah.
And I'm excited to see whatever comes. But I always end my yoga classes by saying, what's the main thing? Oh, I haven't taught yoga. I'm also starting to teach yoga again. So I'm like, how did I used to end my yoga classes? But it always used to be the teacher in me sees and honors the teacher in you. And let's be a friend to ourselves. Let's be a friend to others. And let's try to leave everyone we meet better than we found them. So that's my closing.
Love it.
Good.
I really hope you enjoyed this podcast. I talked with some friends, had some good conversations, enjoyed every last bit of it. But there's more in development. More podcasts for you coming. More informative news and statistics coming for you. I got a segment I'm debuting next week, the survey segment. I'm excited about that. And then we have the Fargo Watch Party finale this Friday debuting. The finale. Steven and I have done 10 episodes. We'll have done 10 episodes. So please tune in to Fargo Watch Party finale this Friday, because that one's going to be hot. And if you're not listening to that one, then I'll see you next week on another episode of the Modern Man Podcast, presented to you by the Modern Podcast Network.